Start. Hi, welcome to the ImAssuming podcast, and today I have a legit celebrity, like I can say.
Okay, please lower your expectations right now.
But you're the first celebrity to come to my house, like there has to be a little bit of pride on my part, lah. I will hype you up for that.
Okay, but still lower your expectations.
Okay. Let me try that again. Okay, we have with me, as seen on Netflix, Mr. Kavin Jay.
Yes, or Kavin Jay, which is what I'm usually known as.
Okay, so I think that the part about Netflix is I know it is not your whole universe. I think we have talked about it before.
I mean, it's been 2 years lah. That's the thing. So I'm working on new things now, and I'm working on maybe bigger things. Yeah, depends on how you see it lah.
I always think the next thing that we are working on, it should always be the bigger thing lah.
Yeah, but it's very different though. It's I mean, we're all talking about comedy and stuff like that. I still do comedy, don't get me wrong. I still perform, I still shoot whatever I can, or if I want, if somebody calls me and says, hey, you want to be on Comedy Central, BBC, whatever, I'll take it. But that's still my first love, obviously, but there is also other loves that I want to pursue lah, in a way. Like, you one wife not enough, you want 2, 3, sometimes. I'm only joking. If my wife is listening, you're the only one for me.
No, I feel you in all aspects, except the wife part lah.
Yeah. No, we both agree there.
In the sense, okay, I find that interesting. And actually one of the first things I wanted to ask you is, do comedians, although you're saying you're much more than just a comedian, I hear that. I
want to be that.
Okay, so I think one of the things, the show is called ImAssuming. So basically, I'm one big idiot with a lot of assumptions.
Okay.
So I kind of need to have these conversations with people who are insiders or champions of their industry to kind of like tell me this is not how it is.
Okay.
So one of the biggest assumptions I have is comedians only hang out with other comedians.
That is absolutely true.
Oh, cool.
No, that is absolutely true. No, and there is a reason for that, because comedians are annoying people. They are very annoying. Okay, because it's not that we want to do this, but everything we try to see the funny side of things, and we are actually very boring people off stage, right?
You think so?
So you see, there's
this. No, is it? You think so, or
I'm telling you as a fact. Like, you see, this is what comedians do. Okay, most of the people who are on stage, they are very jovial. You feel like you get to know them because they're telling you stories about their lives and stuff like that. But we are not making a connection with you. And the thing is, it's all an act most of the time. Like, it's basically, we fake happiness, we fake a lot of things, and then when we get off stage, and then there's two people who want to hang out with comedians. One is the people who are friends, who knew them since they were not comedians. Okay. Right? So before that time. So they knew you as one person. Now that you become a comedian, everything is like, testing jokes. Sometimes you say things that are just, a little bit like, quirky and stuff like that. They get annoyed. They get annoyed at this because everything is a bloody joke. And they hate it when, when they do something, like, even if they drink water, they accidentally spill a little bit of water on themselves. They're like, now you're going to talk about me on stage lah, huh? This is what happens lah. And then you become like, no, I'm not going to talk about you spilling water on yourself, please. Okay. But so they get annoyed. So that is one thing. And then the second type of people who think that hanging out with comedians is always going to be a laughter, always going to be it's so funny, right? But it's not, because we are human beings too. We go through normal emotions. We also have bad days. We also have sad days. We also have like times when our cricket dies or something. It's one of the and they feel like, hey, I'm hanging out with a comedian. Why are you not making me laugh? So at the end of the day, it's just easier to hang out with other comedians because it's easier for them to understand, like, the headspace that we are
funny all the time.
Yeah, and even if we are funny, it's basically kind of like, they understand that, look, we're testing out something. This could be something that we do on stage, and they appreciate it more. That you're testing. Oh, you know what you should do? You should add this instead, right? Then it works out.
Okay, so one of the reasons I want to have the conversation, especially with a comedian, a successful comedian. I know we will phase that out of the conversation and talk about the bigger things, right?
Right.
But I'm a huge fan of comedy. Right. And the problem with being a fan is sometimes you think you're also funny because you watch so much stand-up comedy. You get in your head that, you also
I can do lah.
I don't believe that in the sense, but I feel like, I'm funnier than the average guy, right?
Okay.
And that leads me to being very fascinated with comedians. So the issue now is that I want to know about comedians, right? And the only avenue now with a lot of info is actually coming from the other side of the world, from the US and all that.
US, UK.
And then, so I don't really know what are the Malaysian comedians, do they suffer from the same stereotypes that those abroad? Like, for example, one of the recurring themes they say is, comedians are actually very suffer from depression, are very dark. They're not necessarily, which you kind of...
No, it's yes and no.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we are still human beings. We all go through the same things that everybody go through. I mean, it's not like just because we're comedians, we are happy all the time. No, there's no such thing. We go through depression, and there is a lot more depression in the entertainment industry. I'm not only going to say the comedy industry. I'm going to say the entertainment industry, because I mean, I have been diagnosed with the actual term is a lack of dopamine.
Okay.
Which is a form of depression as well.
Okay.
Basically, you're not happy lah.
Okay.
So the reason being, according to the psychiatrist that I frequent, is that as entertainers, what we do is we fake happiness on stage a lot, and because of that, our body seems to think that we don't need the happiness hormone anymore. See, because our body tends to react to things that we do not. In a way that we don't think how they react, right? For instance, if you fake laughter for enough time, you will laugh naturally.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So in that sense, your body thinks, he's laughing, let him give him the hormones. Right? And in the same way, if you inject testosterone, you fake this thing, you gain more mass because of it. And then your body seems to think, okay, if you don't need testosterone, then your balls shrink. So in that same vein, our brain also runs on hormones and chemical. So when we are faking something so much, at the end of the day, the body tends to think that, it doesn't need all this, it doesn't need all that. So the body compensates for it, because we live in a situation where in our society now, we've never been this seen.
Yeah. Okay.
With social media, with everything.
Yeah.
Like, there's more celebrities now than there's ever been in its history.
Yes.
Right. So at the end of the day, only like those days we only could see like the people in TV, they only get depression and stuff like that. Now there's Instagram models getting depression also. Why? Because they for the same reason lah.
Do you think that I am really not an expert, so I'm not making any kind of
but you are
professional opinion, right?
Okay.
But I think if I were to offer some kind of analysis based on my own life, right?
Sure.
Do you think there's that one of the factors is that because, like, maybe you perform, you go on stage, and the persona is funny. Oh, I'm funny and happy and jovial, right? Do you feel to a certain extent that when you're not on stage, you feel that you are actually, that's a fake, that's not really me, that's fake, and because of that kind of you feel like you're there's a level of fakeness?
No, it's not. It's not fake at all. I mean, for me at least. I mean, there's a lot of people who play a character on stage, and they're very different off stage and on stage. For me, I don't play a character. That's me. But however, it's a much more. It's an amplification of what is going on, right? Like, for instance, like I'm very grumpy on stage. I'm not usually that grumpy. I'm not usually that angry and stuff like that. But the thing is, on stage, I play it up because, I want to show the frustrations and the emotions that I go through.
And it's funny.
Yeah, and it's funny lah. I mean, people laugh at other people's pain, right?
Yes.
So that's what, in a way, I'm trying to do this thing. But however, when I say we are faking happiness, what I mean is that we go through life normally, right? Let's say my dog passed away. Right, I'm sad, right? But I still have to go on stage and pretend to be happy.
Correct.
So your brain thinks, he's happy lah. So he doesn't need the dopamine, or he doesn't need the serotonin, or whatever chemical that is.
So, like,
happening.
you mentioned, like, you see a psychiatrist. Do you legit see a psychiatrist, or
legit.
So is that something that people commonly admit openly? Because I feel like, especially as Malaysians,
I think they should start. I don't think seeing a psychiatrist is a taboo anymore.
No, not at all, man.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it used to be. It used to be though. Like for my parents, if I see a psychiatrist, gila re. It's
Why?
Cuckoo.
Why?
Yeah, why you see psychiatrist? What you crazy?
Go temple.
Go temple, break 13 coconuts and squeeze one lime.
Yeah. No, I mean, by no means. I know I'm speaking to you, but we're not trying to make a joke out of
of course
mental
not.
illness or anything like that, right?
The thing is, you're not making a joke of mental illness, but however, speaking about mental illness without taboo is still very. I see it in you. It's very difficult for you because I understand that you don't want to make assumptions and stuff like that, and which is why. I mean, which is why you're asking the question. Which is why assumptions are allowed, because if you don't make assumptions, you don't ask the questions.
Yeah.
If you make assumptions and not ask questions, then you're an idiot. But at the end of the day, mental illness is a very real thing, and mental illness is something that as now modern society, I think we go through this more often than anybody else, and I think we should really talk about it. In fact, even if we talk about it in a light-hearted way, it's still talking about it, and it's still trying to get the message across that look, if you go see a psychiatrist, if you are feeling sad, it's not your fault. You're not sad about anything. It's just a chemical imbalance at the end of the day. It's your body telling you that something is wrong, right? At the end of the day, like you can have other chemical imbalances like testosterone imbalance, or you can have an estrogen imbalance, or you can have a gallbladder imbalance. All that things give you a different. You get sick. So why isn't the brain hormones imbalance not a sickness? It's just you're crazy. Oh,
I mean, how you're looking at it, I'm 100% on board.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
In the sense that, for me, it makes sense to put it out there. I mean, there's no shame in it, but I feel a lot of people associate shame. And okay, I'll give you another example, right? A guest on the podcast yesterday, Daniel, right?
Okay.
So he recently had cancer,
right?
And he's recovered,
okay,
right? And hopefully on the path to full recovery. But one of the things that he did the day he found out, he actually put it on his Facebook that, hey man, I just found out I got cancer. And on top of that, it's like, I don't want or seek anybody's pity, but I just want to let you know that this is what I'm going through.
Okay.
So if you want to talk, we can talk.
Right.
But he doesn't want to throw himself a pity party, right?
Of course.
But at the same time, for me, what he did is so different from what our culture is used to. This part of the world, dare I say Malaysian or Asian,
No, I agree with you. And what he did basically is it's a very powerful, brave thing that he did, because the more people like him talk about it, the more people are going to talk about it. And also the fact that they also see in role models everywhere. Like I talk about my mental illness on social media. I talk about it sometimes. And the thing is, look, even if people might find me annoying or talking about, I feel depressed again lah, sad.
He's doing this for a comedy beat.
Yeah, and also people sometimes reply, hey, cheer up lah. No, and I get it. But the thing is, like, what they don't see is the people who DM me and say, like, oh, I'm going through the same thing. Or, hey, I also feel like I am going through depression, but I'm not sure. I just wanted to talk to you about it. And basically that's what that guy Daniel was doing, opening himself up to people who basically, like, they go through it. If you bottle it up, everything inside, you are going to burst, right? So basically people who who shy to talk about it, at least they see someone like Daniel or like myself who go through the same situation, they go like, maybe I can talk to this guy. And then they send me a DM or something and they say like, yeah, I also feel like I'm going through the same thing, or I am going through the same thing, and there's somebody to talk to, and I talk to them. I mean, I see a lot of on social media as well, a lot of people reaching out for help, and people don't help them.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there was just one example where I didn't know what to do. There was a social media event where I attended. I met someone. That was the only time I saw him. But Twitter being Twitter, you kind of follow each other and all that. So fast forward many years, suddenly I start seeing tweets from him saying like, oh, I've had enough. This is the end. I can't take it anymore, blah, blah.
Right.
And I'm like, what do I do? Right. I mean, what do I do? I've met this guy. Right. Seems like a nice guy. How do I help him? Because I can't, although we are following each other, we are not really friends.
Yeah.
So I reach out to him. I message him, and then I start seeing who he follows or who replies to him usually, and I start DMing all those people that seems to interact with him and say, hey, are you guys doing anything about this? Do you know him? And thank God there are people who come in and who actually know him in real life, who say things like, oh, come, let's go out and talk, come, blah, blah, blah. Thank God he didn't do anything drastic. I think he did seek help. But, I think a lot of people see that and their first reaction is, oh, this person looking for attention.
Yeah.
And
and I mean, let's be fair to say that sometimes it is true. They are looking for attention. And I've been through firsthand of seeing people who, put out statuses like that, asking for or reaching out for help, and basically it's all a ploy. Hey, can borrow me $500 kind of,
Oh wow. Yeah, I never thought of that. Oh shit.
Join my MLM, all like, oh god, just to get people to contact them, right? No god, but at the end of the day, it's your conscience lah. If you feel like you've done something and you come back, it comes back to be just a ploy to this thing. So it's better than, oh, I didn't do anything and he ended up, doing something drastic instead. Yeah. So for me, it's that lah. I talk to people. The only thing you can do is reach out and talk to him. That's the only thing you can do. To be fair, if something happens, don't blame yourself. But also the fact that also know that, look, at the end of the day, in your power, you only can talk to them if they consent to you talking to them back.
Correct.
Right. So basically, I've reached out to a lot of people who never replied or didn't want to. And the thing is, I have to learn how to let go. So I can't just keep on hounding them like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Because it's
or maybe that statement is to get an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend to reply them.
Maybe.
And why is this ball in mid-flare?
No, but I mean, you be very open lah. I saw your status. I saw your status. I'm worried, and I for me, it's I go through the same thing. And if you just need someone to talk to, I'm available. If you don't, fine. And I hope you seek. I hope you find help, right? And all we can do is hope that, look, they do go find help. Like, that's the only thing you can do. Like, that's why I say the only thing you can do is don't be an idiot lah. Don't be an idiot.
Idiot in the sense of don't be an ass lah.
Don't be an ass. Don't be the guy who goes like, hey, cheer up lah. You got so many things to be cheerful for, right? Or hey, you just bought a house, or you should be happy.
I would go one further. I think ass is probably level 1.5, but level 1 I would put. There are people I've seen literally some of these people. They scold the person.
Exactly. It's happened to me. Like, I'm going through depression and they're like, hey, you just got Netflix, or what's wrong with you? I'm like, dude, it's not about that. It's so many other things. There is the imposter syndrome. There is a chemical imbalance. It's got nothing to do with what I got. I just bought a house, but at the end of the day, that's not the reason I should be happy.
I mean, and all our goalposts are so different, and they keep moving.
This goalpost is virtual now, right? And it's all over the place. There's no such thing as a goalpost anymore.
Yeah, so
even you can achieve your dreams. You can, if your biggest dream is to get $1 million, you can still get $1 million and not be happy.
Agreed. I agree.
At the end,
I wish I knew what that feels like.
Yeah, I wish also. But I think it only feel like, if you're going through depression, if you have $1 million, the only thing that will make you happy, well, not really make you happy, the only thing the $1 million will help is better therapists. That's the only difference. It's not about, the fact that, you got $1 million, happy lah now.
I used to tell some of my friends that, money doesn't solve our problems. But if you have money, you can arrive at the problems in style. Yeah.
It's much nicer to cry in a Mercedes lah. Let's face it. Okay, crying in a kanchil is not fun.
But how do you... So it's really refreshing that you're very comfortable and open to talk about something like this, right? Also, so if you see the... on the other side lah, so if you see people who have a stigma against people who suffer from any kind of like mental chemical imbalance, right? Can we do anything? What can we say? If or what? Okay, just say if in your experience, if one of those times then when you have been in a dark spot, right? What would have hoped somebody would have said to you that would at least make things a little bit better, or at least take you out of the dark spot? I mean,
it's weird. There's nothing you can really do. I mean, talking is one thing, but it's more towards, taking you out of that place. You can't take, chemical imbalance. It's not like I can just go and inject you with chemicals. But it's more like, there is time, there's triggers that you feel depressed about. And also, if someone just hangs out with you, you don't feel that depression. You don't feel the sadness that you feel. It mostly happens when you're alone. It mostly happens when there's nothing there, kind of thing. So if there is someone there with you, you kind of that's all we need, like a distraction. And that's what you can
even if
afford.
it is someone just to listen to your troubles and whatnot.
If someone just want to hang out with you, just have a beer. You don't even have to talk about the problem. We talk about other things. Talk about better times. Talk about the football. How Liverpool just bought Thiago and Manchester United, they haven't bought anybody yet. That kind of stuff.
I saw some idiot post something. I don't know whether it was just trolling like crowdfunding from United fans.
No, it's real. So far they've collected £135. We're a little bit short lah.
Okay, hopefully this podcast will help.
No, actually driving here, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if I had the money, let's say I'm a billionaire, okay, and if I had the money and could I have just called Ed Woodward up and said, like, look, listen, I'll give you the money, okay?
But you resign.
No, don't need, just buy the fleur, okay? You have to pay me back, obviously, but no interest, zero interest. Just pay me back like how you think you're gonna pay Dortmund. Whatever you just pay me back that one. But I will pay the 120 euros to Dortmund, 120 million euros to Dortmund right now, and I will do it. Whether or not he will accept.
Yeah, I think they will take your money lah. But whether
they
in
buy
any
that
favorable
bloody
terms,
fool
we don't know. He might not buy the player you want him to buy, but
no,
he
shut
will
up.
take your money.
That's the whole point. Like, that's the agreement. You take the money, you must buy that player. No other person. So I own the player.
And I mean, when you talk about football, it's especially if you're talking about United. I'm a United fan.
Okay.
By no means hardcore lah. It's
okay.
I try not to get overwhelmed.
You cannot lah. At Manchester United, you will get overwhelmed.
No, because it's really my group of friends, my circle. Most of them are United lah.
Okay.
There are 1-2 straggler Liverpool fans who are currently on top of the hill.
Yeah, I think our generation is 70% Man United fans. I think the generation before us, they are 70% Liverpool fans. Because I mean, based on who was winning at that time, I guess 20 years from now there will be 70% Manchester City fans. Now there's 3, but all of them in Sekolah Menengah Kelana Jaya somewhere. But but there are. I mean, it's always going to change with the trend. But I think our generation, I would say 70% Manchester United fans.
Yeah,
but it's the most depressing thing in the world right now.
Right now lah. But also, it is football is one of those weird things where the rivalry is real, but it's also you're like continuously poking fun and annoying each other.
Yeah, no, but you see, this is the part I don't understand. Like, fans of rival teams, they go out of their way just to hurt you with the, something happens, they lose a football game, they're like, oh, look at you all. I'm like, dude, you didn't kick the ball, I didn't kick the ball. Okay, can you all calm down now? Okay, the team lost. Okay, I feel bad already. Enough lah. What's about you? Like, my best friend, Papi Zach, he's a Liverpool fan and I'm a Manchester United fan. Right? We're still best friends.
Okay.
But we don't do that to each other. Yes, if we lose, we're like, ha ha ha, you lost. Right? But we don't go like, oh, look at the loser. Look, you loser. Tak boleh pakai. One bloody game was okay. It's not like that. It's a football game.
No, but you'll be surprised because sometimes I hear, Liverpool is doing very well, right? They're on top of their game. They're playing very well. So they have all the ammo to fire at United now, right?
No, fair enough.
And then they get dirty. Right? Then I'm like, bro, just be happy you're winning lah.
Yeah.
Why are you so happy that I'm losing?
Exactly. No, and also the fact that look, if you're going out of your way to make fun or hurt another person who's a rival fan, And you didn't. Look, if you went out there and you kicked the penalty and you won the game, fair enough, bro. I will respect you. You can whatever you want to tell me, you can tell me, okay? But you didn't do shit, okay? You didn't even. You first of all, the jersey you're wearing also is chipla one, okay? You bought for 20 ringgit, okay? Not even the real one, not even from Aliksan, okay? 100 something ringgit. No, you bought the cheap jersey, and now you are telling me, oh no, we are the winners. Hey, please lah, okay? You didn't win anything, okay?
But okay, so here's the other side of the coin, right? We have to accept that there are super asshole United fans also lah.
No, without doubt, both sides.
So I realized that I can start identifying super asshole United fans because these guys feel so guilty.
Yeah, you're very quiet now.
And then they'll be like, no lah, it's okay lah. They whatever they say is right. You know, I also have said so many bad things. I was like, oh, you feel it's justified because I never say those things.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, no. The thing I don't understand about football rivalry is that, look, you didn't kick the ball.
Yes.
You kick the ball, you can talk shit. Okay, but you don't kick the ball, don't. Like, just enjoy the game. Like, I'm a football fan first before I am a United fan.
Right.
It's quite close lah. But you know, the thing is, I like United and blah blah blah. But I love football.
Right.
I love playing football. I love watching football. Whatever team it is, Blackburn, Fulham, Leeds now is very interesting. Like the way they play against Liverpool was, they lost, but still, look, big respect. Like 4-3, that was a great game. But yeah, at the end of the day, be a football fan. Correct. Rather than, you want to be a club fan, fine. You want to be a player fan, also fine. But you just don't be a dick lah.
No, when I was telling you earlier that you because you consume so much comedy, you tend to feel that you're also funny, right? So I when all this was going on when Liverpool was at the top of the hill, and suddenly we have group chats, right? And then the group chat is even Chelsea fans and Blackburn fans and all the fans. Every time United loses a game, which was many times last season, it's just a barrage in the group, and it's all these memes and all that. So I thought I was very clever. I said, in the height of the Avengers and all, I came up with a term called Fanos. In the terms, not Thanos, Fanos, where somebody who rejoices in the demise of another team rather than rejoicing in the victory of their team, right? They just want to watch the team destroyed, right?
No, I know a lot of Tottenham fans who revel in the losses of Manchester. I'm like, dude, you're doing a lot worse than us. What is wrong with you? Like, Arsenal, calm down. Okay?
But it's a thing, right? Like, when you say at one point was anything but Amno, right? Abu and all that. At a certain point is anything but Man U lah.
Anything but United lah. Yeah, I know.
So there is the force that unites most football players.
And this movement was only because, like, anything but Amno was because Najib. Najib was an asshole. Nobody liked him. That's why anything but Amno. With the idiot Man United fans is anything but United, right? This idiot Man United fans who went around like, oh, look, 20, stop it lah, okay.
Yeah, so they kind of brought it upon yourself. And so for me, is I follow United and Juventus. I tend to wear Juventus jerseys more when I go out, just because
I can see the Italia.
So more often than not, they're like, oh, Juventus, okay lah, and they don't bother.
Juventus. I started supporting Juventus when Del Piero was there.
Yeah,
and he was my favorite player of all time.
I think I fell in love with United and Juventus at the same game. They're playing each other on the Champions League.
Oh, the 99?
Yeah,
I was there.
Are you serious?
I was, in Trafford. I was studying in England. So that was the game. And the worst part was they lost 1-0 to in San Siro. And then they came to Trafford. Everybody wrote them off. Yeah. And I went to the game and they won 3-1. Yeah. And that was the game.
No, for me, watching those two teams play, and I mean, they didn't win, but Del Piero played very well. I mean, that was his peak, if you ask me.
No, to be fair, his peak was like 97. I would say, when basically I started supporting Man United in 95.
Okay.
Eric Cantona. Okay. And when Eric Cantona came in, he was an enigma, and it was like, oh, very interesting. And then the FA Cup final when he scored. And then 97, that was 97, and then that's when I started and then Juventus was always there. Like Juventus was like Del Piero. Like when I watched the World Cup at that time, and Del Piero was this. He was just this silky, skilled player who just destroyed everything.
98, right?
Yeah, he started Juventus a long time already.
Yeah, but then his first, I think, World Cup.
Yeah, first World Cup 98. 98, yeah.
Because 94 was still Baggio
and Bebeto.
Yeah.
That was also good. Like, And remember when they lost everything, and then suddenly they made it to the group to the knockout stage in 94, 98, 94.
And suddenly they go all the way to the final.
Pop with everything.
You know, my late father, who's not a football fan, for some reason, for the World Cup finals, woke me up and made me watch the Italy-Brazil final.
Right.
And that's when I started supporting Italy. I think, you know, these kind of things, I think there are many kids like me who would have seen the final and supported Brazil.
Right. No, of course. I support England, which is worse. Okay?
Oh, now I know where the depression comes from.
There's a lot. No, but England, because I lived there. I lived there for 5 years. So it's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say home, but I would say like, there was an affinity and I was there among English people all supporting England.
Yeah. So also I was I think with Malaysia, I mean, we being part of the colony of the Commonwealth.
No, it wasn't about that at all.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of
basically
links.
I had 2 World Cups and 1 Euro in England.
Wow.
Right? So basically everybody around me supported England. So it was a bit weird for me to kind of support like Portugal, for instance. Right? So in a way, like, I just joined the crew in a way. But then I kind of enjoyed the company.
But I imagine the atmosphere in England, supporting England.
Yeah.
Because they always think they're going to win every tournament they join.
Yeah. This is the year.
No, but dude, you need that level of like euphoria, that level of excitement. That what makes, now you see them playing in empty stadiums.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've seen Juventus playing in empty stadiums a lot of times before this as well, before the corona.
Yeah.
So, and you can actually hear each player kicking the ball and like tennis. It's almost like a tennis game, right?
No, but I mean now they put the fake noise in. It's kind of distinct, but we got used to it. I think we got used to the empty stadium. Next will be 25% capacity, 50, 75, and then 100. But when that happens, we see because everybody dying in England also. So whether Premier League is gonna come back or not it's a whole different thing.
You think they'll write off the?
I think they have no choice until a vaccine comes in. The infection rate is very high in England right now. We're talking about Premier League. Italy is no better.
Yeah.
France is worse. Spain is even worse. So at the end of the day, the infection rate is very high. I don't think they can. They said by January they want 25% to 30% capacity, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because unless the vaccine comes out and stuff like that, it's not going to happen.
I think I was reading an article just today where they were saying that they will start with 1,000 fans in the stadium first.
Yeah.
Which is not even 10%. Right?
Yeah, it depends on which. Depends on Man City, it's 100%.
Everybody turns
up. Everybody turns up. They only got 1,000 fans, right?
I see. The Sheikh's family is 1,000 people, I think. But yeah, I mean, you said you spent a good 4-5 years in England.
Yeah, 4.5.
What are you studying there? I mean,
marine engineering.
Oh, dude, why England and marine engineering?
What scholarship.
Oh, fantastic! What scholarship? JPJ or
Petronas?
Petronas. Oh, you some elite bugger.
No.
So your photo somewhere up in Petronas somewhere lah.
They took it out.
Hey, this one no longer professional.
No, I quit halfway through my bond actually. So you
graduated, you completed, so you are a marine
engineer.
What does that mean?
Okay, so basically, a lot of people think I fix turtles. That is not what I do.
That's a marine biologist?
Yes.
Okay.
I fix ships, basically. Okay. It's aeronautical engineering, but with ships.
Okay. So did you actually fix ships for Petronas?
Yeah. I worked on a ship.
Okay, so these are what the ships that are going to the rigs. I imagine Petronas.
No, Petronas. We used to the ships I used to work on were the LNG carriers, liquid natural gas.
Okay, tankers. Basically.
Tankers, yes, and also other ships because our batch was the only batch that we did both steam and motor. So we went on container ships, we went on bulk carriers, chemical carriers, all sorts.
And I imagine, my assumption, it's a high-paying good job.
It's a very high paying good job. My starting salary in 2002 was 4,000 ringgit.
Dude, starting salary 4,000 bucks.
Yeah, no, 3,500 lah.
Okay lah, but then with bonds somewhere, basically it's a discounted salary, right?
And it went up pretty quickly. Like after 6 months, I got 4,000. And then after another 6 months, I got 4,500 and so forth. And it went up lah.
So how long, you said you quit halfway through the bond. How long was your bond?
10 years.
5 years is okay.
No,
So
4.
4 years. Okay, we are big creative with the best. So 4 years in, what made you quit?
I got fed up of the fact that I was working at sea.
So did you have to be with the ship, or you only go into
6 months? Basically 4 months on, 2 months off. So
Wow.
4 months I'm working on the ship 7 days a week.
Okay.
And then 2 months I get off, and then after 2 months I go back on ship and work for 4 months, and 2 months, 4 months, 2 months, 4
So
months.
like those kind of structures, other than your salary, do you get like allowance, compensation?
A little bit here and there, but it wasn't that much. I think you do lah. I mean, you
Okay.
do obviously get a lot of money.
Okay.
I mean, if I was still working there now, easily my salary would have been like 30-40 grand
Man,
a month, like easily.
that's only 10%.
Yeah, but
of
now
your
oil and gas
current
dying
salary,
a day,
right?
so it doesn't matter.
No, okay. So okay. I can imagine that 4 months away, 2 months back. It's okay lah. I can imagine that
Yeah.
tiring you out.
But I made a lot of money. But here's the thing. Okay, I was a young boy, very impressionable. And I used to, like, I go on a ship and I come back with like 10 grand in the bank, just, and then the 2 months, like, like, basically it's like
I
a
need to
rap
go
video
back.
lah. Basically like a rap video lah, at least for the 2 months. And then I go back on ship with 5,000 debt and rinse and repeat lah. So after 4 months, I'll come back with 10,000. Then another rap video will happen.
How did you walk away from that? In the sense, okay, I hear you're sick of it, sick of seasickness.
No, it wasn't the seasickness. It wasn't that. It was just that I was more of a social creature than I imagined to be.
How many people on the ship?
40 men. That's it.
40.
Yeah, you can bring your wife on board, but then she's gonna get bored lah.
Yeah. 40 is high. I've like read news like some
there's the
tankers
deck.
have like 8 people only.
Oh no, I mean depends. If container carriers, they have less because there's less people working on the cargo. Like our LNG carriers, obviously there's a lot more people working on the cargo side of stuff, and altogether was 40 lah. Well, officers were 10, and then 30 was the crew.
And where, so you were working on the ship, right? Had you stayed, right? Is there a route to captaincy, or being an engineer?
No,
is a
chief
different
engineer
route?
lah.
Chief engineer.
Yeah, so it's the hierarchy on ship. I was on the engine side, so basically I could go up to chief engineer, which is basically second in command in a way.
Okay,
right?
Okay, to the captain lah.
To
basically. The captain. So if you are to be on the route to be a captain, you have to start as a deckhand.
Yeah.
So is it a must to go in at the bottom and climb your way up?
No, you start. I mean, you obviously if you can do your officers this thing. So you start off as a 5th officer, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then you be the first mate lah, and then after that captain. In engineering it's the same thing: 5th engineer, 4th engineer, 3rd engineer, 2nd engineer, chief engineer.
And I feel it's a lot more structured, right? I mean, in the sense that it's not so. I always feel like safety comes first. So there's a lot of
yeah. I mean, LNG carrier like you cannot smoke in the cargo hold. You blow
I'm
up.
pretty sure there are people still smoking.
No, I mean you smoke in the cabin.
Okay.
Like in your cabin you can smoke, but you can't smoke outside. So and cigarettes were so cheap. Where do you think I started smoking? Like cigarettes were so cheap. One carton was like less than, like what you buy in the airport, less than that.
Do you do you all stop off at different ports?
Yes.
And you get down?
Okay, like you see the LNG carriers we used to. It depends on where we send the LNG to. We were at that time it was Korea, Japan, Australia.
Okay.
That's about it. Like we once in a while we'll go to Texas.
And our hub here is where?
Bintulu.
So actually you East Coast.
So yeah, you I mean you work here. I mean you stay here.
Okay.
But they'll fly you out to Bintulu to join the ship lah.
So among all, now I imagine a young Kavin Jay.
Okay.
Less hair on the chin.
More hair.
More hair on the head. Okay, more hair on the head, right? And I imagine you watch this classic like sailor shows and you get to get off the ship and you run rampant lah in all these spots and all that.
Yeah.
So there's some fun in that. I mean, in the sense that
No, don't get me wrong. It's fun to travel the world and stuff like that, but it's not fun that you have to go back in 8 hours. It was one of those things where I got to see the world.
Okay.
Like because I did a dual, especially the container ship, I circumnavigated the Earth like few times, and then the chemical carriers used to go to one. Ulu Port in India, Visakhapatnam and Russia, places you never heard before in your life. And I got to travel a lot of places. But however, you still had to spend a lot of time on the ship. Right, and also the fact that you're still working 9 to 5, and you still not even 9 to 5. Like if you were
like
on
solid,
duty,
12-hour shifts.
No, it's 24 hours basically. So I mean, the alarms are wired into your room.
Okay.
So anything goes wrong, you're sleeping nicely, dreaming about your.
So in that 4 years, how many alarms?
A lot. It depends.
It's quite common. I mean, it's not major stuff.
It happens. Depends. No, it's even the smallest things like your bilge level high. That's a very small alarm. But obviously, I mean, obviously can lead to something big lah. So you'll ging in and you go down, you'll see nothing, and then you just click accept, try to go back to sleep, and then you again come down and stupid alarm will this thing.
And in all this, right? So when you were studying to become a marine engineer and also working, this time you already knew you want to get into the entertainment industry, or you felt?
No, not really. No, not at all. I think when I was in the UK. I used to watch a lot of stand-up comedy. I didn't want to be a stand-up comedian. I was lazy lah. I didn't want to do this shit. And then I started working for Petronas. And then after that, I quit. And you see, the thing is, I quit with a loophole. I didn't just quit because obviously born for 10 years. I only worked for 4. It would so happen that the company that I work for doesn't exist anymore. It was bought over by MISC. With the share, this thing. Anyway, so the company that I work for didn't exist anymore. They gave me a new contract. They said, look, now you have to sign with MIC. And I said, what if I don't sign? Well, we can't force you, but you won't have a job.
Right.
So I said, okay, I don't want to sign. I was the only one. Who didn't want to sign. But they told everybody I for medical reasons that I had quit. Because they didn't want everybody to know that there was a loophole.
There's an option for them.
But for them to liquefy the company that I signed the contract with, took them a year and a half. So I couldn't work for anyone else. In the meantime, and they won't pay me a salary, right? So in the terms of the contract was, if I was on ship, they would pay me a salary. If I wasn't on ship or wasn't on leave, they won't pay me salary. So I didn't get a salary for a year and a half. So it took them a year and a half to do that. My parents were thinking I'm the laziest bugger in the world. They're bumming at home. See, no job, no nothing.
So
useless.
For a solid 1.5 years,
solid 1.5 years, drug addict.
Reason not to work.
I
can't work. I go to jail.
Exactly. But also I didn't have a salary lah. So I was struggling. I used to work as a clown actually. So I used to put on, a friend of mine basically needed a clown for one day and put on some makeup, put on some clothes.
Who is this friend? Can you share the name or?
Varinder. He is sadly passed away already.
Okay.
But so he, my brother's friend lah. So he slapped on some makeup and clothes and stood me there with some balloons. So I had to give to people, and at the end he paid me $150.
Hey, that's
like,
money,
that's
man.
not bad,
Yeah.
Not bad. And then I realized that he got paid $1,500. But listen, okay, at that point I wasn't complaining.
You got paid $1,000 to just make sure you get
he was supposed to do the job, but he had another job, so he got $2,000, but he paid me $150 lah.
Nice.
So which is fine, right?
Okay.
So I kept on doing, and then there was obviously the rival of this guy who came to me and said, look, I will give you 50% of whatever I make. That's the fair deal lah. Like, you go and do the work, I give you 50%. So it was more like 500.
Right.
So then I thought, it's better, because I had learned how to do different things, like how to put on my own makeup, balloon animals and stuff like that. So I went on, like, I used to watch other clowns do the balloon. I didn't know how to do, but I watched other clowns do it, and I figured it out myself. So I had like 5-6 things I could make, and which was more than enough, because if kids, all you need is sword for the boys, right? Dog
puppy
for the girls. That's it. Right? Anything extra is like bonus already.
No, funnily enough, I'm actually very familiar with this world.
Okay.
Because one of our friends was doing this. He was making tons of money.
Okay.
And he was a couple of years older than us. So when
is it Jiggy?
Not Jiggy. This was, I don't know, Adrian. He goes by Pradip as well sometimes.
Okay, Adrian, yeah.
So he was in our school, I think a year or two older than us and all that. So a lot of my friends, for the school holidays and all, work for him as a clown.
Okay.
And get paid like $400 for a couple of hours.
Exactly.
Work.
Yeah.
And then there are idiots like me who probably don't have the skill set to become a clown. So we became the drivers to bring them and come back. And we got 150 just to drive there and drive back. And sometimes set up the bouncy cancel and all. So like my circle of friends, a lot of us, if not all of us, were either the high rollers or the clowns. They were earning $400.
High rollers or
no,
clowns.
legit,
No.
right?
And you get, look, 1 week you get two, you get $800, you know. That's a lot more than a lot of people earn a week, you know.
Yeah, and then and me and a few of the lazier ones, we will like just drive first. Drive easy, man. Then it's like $150. Okay lah. I mean, you know, at that age, you know. So yeah, I'm actually quite familiar with this, and the money that is there.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that time, there was a lot of demand for this, and I didn't realize that. But then eventually I got a job, and I started working again. You know, as a mechanical engineer. First, I did design for aquariums.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about
like design, like actually like architectural design.
Not architectural, but it was more like piping and life support. Like, and we're not talking about like small aquariums. I'm talking about like Aquaria KLCC. Obviously, we didn't get the contract for Aquaria.
Okay.
But we did, however, get the contract for Siam Ocean World in Bangkok, which I did.
Okay.
And then the
when you say we, is the company you're
the company lah, but I did the design and basically put the pipes in, stuff like that. And Tunku Abdul Rahman aquarium in Zoo Negara and the Dubai one.
Wow.
Yeah, so that one I designed. I didn't go there though.
Okay. No, I just always imagine when somebody talks about, they worked on a project. I just imagine, they flew their business class.
Oh, no.
5-star hotel. What a life.
No, shut up. So basically, when I designed the Bangkok one was the easiest lah. So I designed the Bangkok one. I put in the life support system, everything. So then we had the drawings. Obviously, a draft person will do all the drawings and everything. So then we had to go there as they built the thing. We had to supervise the workers putting in the pipes lah.
Okay.
And the worst part is because you see, obviously our drawings is like that, right?
Right.
Now there's electrical ducting, all that. So suddenly you go there, you want to put the pipes here, suddenly got ducting. So you have to now reroute the whole thing and stuff like that. So at that time we will, have to start drawing and stuff like that.
Man, so after the hiatus, tasting the entertainment industry, you went back to engineering?
I went back to engineering because because I didn't want to be a clown. Like, that's
was it like your parents' nightmare to say?
They didn't know. They didn't care. They just like, you got money, okay, good lah. They didn't care what I was doing.
Okay.
So I was just doing that. But I mean, obviously my girlfriend at that time, she was like, I'm not marrying a clown. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, was the seed was happening for me to get into the entertainment industry. And obviously comedy was not a big thing then. There was only one comedian, which was Harith, and maybe Joanne, maybe Jade Murad. But every time you want to see a comedy show, you have to wait 3 months. You see, depends lah. When they want to do a show, they do a show,
Right.
So I was like, then I went to Bangkok. After 1 year I came back and I started another job. And then I thought to myself like, okay lah, how hard can it be?
So at this point you knew you wanted to do.
No, I thought I didn't know I wanted to do. Like, it was just one thing that I thought, how hard can it be? And plus, I was chatting with some girls, and by that time I had broken up with that girlfriend, and I was
we have to have these caveats.
And I was chatting with some girls, and I had told them that I was a stand-up comedian. Because it's sexy. You can't. The engineers are not sexy, So basically, I was like, what do you do for a living? I'm a stand-up comedian. I want to go to your shows. I'm like, crap, no.
Now I have to stand up somewhere.
I have to stand up something.
Interesting. So who gave you your first break, so to speak?
None. Basically me and Andrew Neto. Andrew Neto was my first cousin, by the way.
Okay.
So at that time he was like 17, 18 years old. And I told him, look, you're a funny guy. I think I'm a funny guy too. So let's do this.
Okay.
So we got 150 of our friends and put them in a pub, and it was a friend's pub. And I told him, like, we don't pay you anything, you don't pay us anything, shut up, just get drinks money, and you give us a couple of free drinks. Like, okay. So we did the show, and Andrew Neto did very well.
Okay.
That show, I did not do well at all. Because I didn't know what comedy was. I thought comedy was.
And he was already doing.
Oh, he was doing very well.
Okay.
I mean, he had the confidence, the persona, everything locked up.
Met him, I think he was with LOL, right?
Yes.
He's no longer.
No.
Was, right? Yes. I think I met him.
Now he's with Livescape.
And I think at that point when I met him, he was telling something about his father was a police officer? Or
yes, his father is a police officer, yes. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I don't know lah. Maybe I heard his stand-up and I feel like I've had a conversation with him lah.
Okay.
It tends to happen also.
No. I mean, he's a very talented boy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he didn't, I believe lah that he doesn't, I don't think stand-up is his first love.
Okay.
I think that, which is why he still has a job now. He's not 100% into stand-up comedy, but he still does it.
Okay.
But at that time, he was like, he was the hot stuff lah.
Yeah.
And I was basically, I thought swearing was good enough to do comedy. I thought if I go there and say the F word enough times, people will laugh. Apparently, that's not true.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was a horrible show. I thought, okay, whatever lah. Then there was another show called Free Flow in Actor Studio Bangsa. So this was an open mic kind of thing done by the boys of the Comeback Kings. That time Chiho, Matthew George, and all these people. Harith was the first like headliner of that night, and basically whoever wanted can just do stand up.
Right.
And so that's where I met Zach, I met Jenhan, I met Chiho, and Emmy and Neto obviously joined the thing as well. And you had to pay 10 ringgit to perform.
You have to pay.
You have to pay to perform.
Do you get a drink for that?
No, nothing. They didn't even give us water. We had to go buy ourselves. But now it's okay. But again, Andrew Neto did very well. And because of that, Harith, who was obviously in the audience headlining the show, he saw Neto and immediately went, come with me. Right?
Okay.
So they went on and he opened for Harith and he became Andrew Neto. I was stuck there going, okay, what do I do now?
Okay.
So I walked up to like people like Jenhan, Chiho and Zach and told them like, look, there's no open mics. There's nothing we can do here. So what if we go up to pubs and just go like, hey, can you let us just tell some jokes to your to your patrons? And I remember Bojangles was one place. If you remember Bojangles.
Vaguely.
Yes.
it's a memory.
With the owner's skin at that time. So we used to go up there, and these people who were listening to us comedy, these people drunk, like they were there since 5 o'clock yesterday, and they've never seen their family before in their life. They will come in at 5 o'clock, drink until 3 o'clock, go home and sleep, or
your
beat
people,
their wife.
your
I don't know.
market.
Well, no, not really. It was the worst market to be in because they are so drunk. They think they're funnier than you. Okay, so and the thing is, we were not funny at the time. So we used to do this, and then we learned so many things. We learned how to come down to their level. We learned how to make a connection. We learned how to deal with difficult audiences. We evolved as comics, and we evolved so much that at the end of the day, I think it built who we are as comics now.
And throughout this process, you were getting paid by this club?
No, we had a couple of drinks and a high five.
So how were you surviving?
I had a job.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole time, obviously, I was still an engineer.
So do you think that somebody today who thinks they're funny, who wants to be who wants to try stand up, right? Do you think the scene has evolved, that there's opportunities, provided you're good, you put in the work?
So much. No, the thing is, look, the opportunities are far more than anything that I've ever seen. Now there is 4 or 5 open mics a week which you can go and just perform. Like when you had to go and knock on the door and to get a couple of high fives and and a drink maybe. But now you can just walk into, there's 2 comedy clubs obviously, which is the Crack House Comedy Club and the Joke Factory, which you can walk in on Tuesday and Wednesday nights and just say, look, I want to perform. They give you 5 minutes and you go and do whatever you want to do. And
you
if
make
you're
it sound like very easy.
You're good.
Like literally anybody who thinks they're funny can go in.
Anybody.
Wow.
I mean, not only the clubs, but other places also have open mics which you can easily walk into.
And are there people, new faces going and trying?
Every week there's at least one. At least one person who, 90% don't come back lah, because it's
do you enjoy seeing people bomb?
No, not at all.
Really?
No.
There's no dark side of you?
No, not really.
Really? Such a nice person.
No, it's not being nice. It's just it's I like to be entertained too, and the thing is, I like to be entertained by other comics as well. As a comic, I also want to watch comedy. You know what I'm saying? So to watch people die, it's not a good feeling lah. It's a painful way, but also I also believe that if someone dies, it's not a bad thing. It's one of those things where you learn from it.
Yeah.
Because if I haven't had died, I wouldn't have evolved as a comic.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of comics who started out, hit the ground running. They don't evolve as comics. I think they believe I believe that they kind of plateau. They hit their peak and that's it. Like, they don't. The moment you die, that's when your whole ego death kind of thing happens, and that's when you think, okay, now I have to do something different.
No, if when I was saying I watch a lot of stand-up comedy, right? So I also like listen to them in interviews and all that. So even when you say the greats, Seinfeld and
Bill
even
Burr.
Chappelle, yeah, I love Bill Burr.
Yeah.
My wife hates him.
Okay, fair enough.
She always said that's sexist white guy.
No, but he doesn't mean it.
Yes, that's the thing. It is. I think there's a level to it, right?
Yeah.
On the surface, he looks redneck. I love Trump kind of deal, but actually he's not.
No, he's not at all. No, the thing is, look, he challenges conceptualism, right? He challenges basically, if you say something is right, he will challenge it. Not because he doesn't believe in it, because he just it's a challenge, right? You have to challenge thought to become to this thing. So that's what he does, and it's nothing to do with the fact that he's a Trump supporter or no, he's a redneck. No, he's not. He's actually a very intelligent man who is challenging normalcy. That's what he's doing. And if he's talking about, look, there is a reason why one of my favorite, again, I don't agree with this, but one of my favorite joke is that there is a reason why men get paid more than women, because we have to pay for the dinner, we have to pay for the car, we have to pay for the house. So to be fair, this thing, and oh no, women want equal rights. But look, for some strange reason, if this place was on fire, guess who gets saved first? The women and the children. And I have to sit here with my more money and die lah. Like this thing. So that's the premium. No, and I don't agree with this. Obviously, I believe in equality.
That's the premise of the bit.
But the premise of the bit is, look, if you look into it, he's not talking about, look, the inequalities of the pay gap. He's talking about the inequalities of everything. Why is there inequality in everything? But then you pick and choose what you like. That's not fair as well.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he also would agree that, look, everybody needs to be paid the same.
Yeah. No, I think people even like Bill Burr, he can argue both sides of the issue.
Oh yeah, of course.
So if you come in from a male chauvinist point of view, he probably can kick you from the feminist point of view as well.
And also the fact that, look, at the end of the day, you're watching a comedy show, like, can you stop taking it seriously? Okay, no. Y'all watch Parliament and laugh. Okay.
There's no punchline in the Parliament.
No, it's a big punchline.
Build up, and there's nothing funny, It's sad.
No, you see, the best part is politicians say funny things, or bad things, or this thing, and we just laugh at them, right? But comedians, when we say bad things, suddenly we're in jail. Like, shouldn't politicians go to jail before us?
I would like to say yes.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Not how it is.
No, but that's the thing, though. We live in a society where we take comedians seriously, but we laugh at our politicians. So that's also not fair.
Yeah, actually, the actual initial point I wanted to make was, even like the greats, like the Bill Burr and all. You listen to their stories, they bomb. They bomb.
Yeah.
Like the Philadelphia, the Philly incident. I don't know, where the crowd just went nuts.
Yeah.
And every comedian was just being booed, and this guy basically went out there and shat on every single fan for a good 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And like epic bomb. And now they are literally the greats. I mean, in the sense that...
No, I mean, even now they would die. Even now they would do bad shows. But it's a matter of happening. Like, for me also, it happens. It happens like, okay, Tom Rhodes, one very famous comedian in the US, he used to come to Malaysia and perform. He told us, like, there is a shit sandwich waiting for you. You don't know when it's going to come. You don't know when you're going to get the shit sandwich, but when you get you eat the shit, you eat it lah. You eat it, you love it, because that's what's going to happen. We can have like 100 good shows, right? But there will be that one show where you eat shit and die. And for me, that was mostly in corporates lah now, right? And yeah, I'll go up there and this audience cannot be saved. They are drunk. They are yam singing. There's your left, right, center. What am I going to do? Just, you know what? For contractual obligations, I'll talk for 20 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I have to do.
So in terms of where you are now, right? And it's very interesting that you disassociated from the singular identity of being just a comedian very early on.
Okay.
Which piques my interest into what are the things that is getting you excited these days, lah.
There's a lot of things getting me excited. One is
we talk about the non-sexual stuff, lah.
Yeah, of course. That doesn't excite me at all nowadays. What nonsense! I'm married, lah.
I hear you. I feel you.
I can't even. My virginity grew back already. But no,
I never lost mine, bro.
One grew back. One came back. One said hello to me last week. But no, I want to write a movie. I would say that I am pursuing that very seriously. I think it's happening. I cannot tell you what, when, who, or how.
Okay.
But yeah, it's happening. I want to write a series as well, which is also on its way to happening.
Okay.
Advanced talks have happened.
Nice.
Like Manchester United.
Nice.
So
is there a crowdfund?
No, there's not been a crowdfund yet, but we'll see whether the
you probably make more money.
No, probably not. But as a creator and writer, I'm probably not going to make most of the money. Obviously, the producers are going to make most of the money. But yeah, those two projects for me is the most interesting.
Okay.
We've created the series. We created something 2 years ago. And a couple of comedians and myself.
Okay.
And we sat down. We wrote what we wanted to do with it, and we wrote in our own sense of humor kind of thing. Nobody liked it.
Okay.
Right.
When you say nobody liked it, is you
at that time lah.
Showed it some
for 2 years. For 2 years,
producers.
Yeah, everybody. I show everybody.
Okay.
Right. So basically, at one point, I was so fed up already.
Okay.
I remember going to one meeting. I said, "Just you do whatever the hell you want to do with it, lah. I don't care."
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, so basically, I was shopping it around. This was a series, obviously. So I was shopping it around. Nothing. No networks. Networks always came back and said, "This is too highbrow."
Okay. People won't understand.
People understand, but not our target market.
Or the market is not big enough.
No, they wanted the mass market. They want the Swamiku Ustaz.
Okay.
Okay, that's what the market they're playing for.
They
don't want the Netflix
that
market. No, this is not the market for them.
Okay.
So all the networks, Netflix was basically very snobbish lah. Obviously, it's not like they can just go like, hey, yeah, we'll take it. No, they also have this. They obviously have a standard, but it's very hard to pitch to them. It's not like you can just walk up to Netflix and say, I got a program. They say yes, right? So that was put aside, and so all the networks I went to, the one that starts with A, ends with Stro, and all the others.
Our uncle's one.
And then but all of them said they want the crowd they did nobody will get it. You will never go far.
No, I've heard this opinion before because I think not to cut you off, right? But just as a segue, I think 2018 once there was a titanic shift in our government and the way we did, and then I think I reached out to you to kind of see whether, hey man, are you going to do like a talk show like the Daily Show or something like that? And I think we actually had some couple of meetings with Prem from Malaysia to see, and then you were kind of educating me as in, oh bro, you're going to be the showrunner, and I'm like, what's the showrunner? And I have no ambition, and I don't know anything that's happening here. All I want is to be able to switch on YouTube or something and watch you guys, right? So in that sense, I've always felt that we need this content.
No, let me tell you a story. So after that happened, clearly it fell through.
Hey, actually, honestly, I don't know why it fell through. Is it just I didn't follow through, or
no? It was they didn't have money. They basically what they wanted to do was they wanted to get the money in before they started the program. So nobody wanted to give you the money for something they haven't seen. Okay. My push was, look, at least do 2 episodes. Right. Then you got something to sell. If you're going to sell a concept, it's very hard for sponsors to come in and say, okay, we'll pay for it. At the end of the day, it fell through because of that. That they say. But then I had a discussion with someone else, and Astro bought the idea of not a talk show, but it was more like a informative kind of show. Okay. Like Hassan Minaj does Patriot Act, and also the other guy, what's his name? The British
I know you're talking about the last week tonight.
Yes, this week tonight.
This week tonight. No, last week tonight.
Last week tonight.
Yeah, it's last week tonight.
What's his name? Never mind. Okay. So
yeah,
that guy, that kind of thing, right? And it was supposed to happen until of course that rant came out during MCO, which I did about the company. And you see, the thing is, what we were doing was we were doing a more expose kind of thing.
Correct.
With this thing, and we will be criticizing a few people. And to be fair, they were okay with that. But when I criticized them, they were not okay with it. So for me, it was a character for Astro, who mentioning names. It was, for me, it was the integrity of Astro, where they would be okay with me criticizing other people, but they were not okay with me criticizing them. And that's when they blacklisted me and probably canceled the show. And I told,
oh, what a shame.
Yeah, and to be fair, I it was a blessing in disguise in so many ways, because if it would have gone there, I think we would have been stifled way too much. And also, I think the show is too good to be on that platform anyway. I think it should have been on a bigger platform. And now me and the producer are working together in making something happen with that. But that is not the series that I'm doing.
So when you say a bigger platform, right? Are you saying that in the sense that bigger than Malaysia, or because Astro's footprint in Malaysia?
No, of course, and View as well, and iFlix as well, and also the fact that I think a bigger platform, meaning that a more targeted and online audience, where I think censorship still touches us, but not as much. Because we need to tell the truth. It's a lot of research that goes into what we want to talk about, and there's a lot of research goes into what the scripts that we have wrote.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, we can't mention a few things, because obviously in Malaysia it's censored. You can't talk about, this government, you can't talk about this person, or you can't talk about this didn't never happen. And we can't say that. We have to give you the facts. That's what we want. But however, I think Astro would have been more strict with that. And also secretly, I think me and the producer also secretly, I think we both felt like this is not the place this needs to be. But they're going to pay, so let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, to the extent I've had versions of these conversations. And even for something small and insignificant like this podcast, when I was just like throwing the idea around with my friends that, hey, I just want to have a podcast talking openly, right? Immediately they're like, oh, you're going to end up in jail, man. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, no, we cannot talk about politics and religion and race and blah, blah. And I'm like, but I don't want to talk about politics, religion and race. I'm more interested in people and hearing their stories.
But even if you do, that doesn't mean you're going to go to jail.
Yeah, there's a context to it, right?
Yeah,
in the sense that if you are reporting the facts, although the facts is a very flexible term these days.
Yes.
Thanks to America and Trump, or Trump's America, I must say. But I do feel you can talk about religion and politics in a non-necessarily defamatory way.
Of course. No, the thing is, look, the people think that, you need to avoid those taboo conversations altogether, because it makes people uncomfortable. But because it makes people uncomfortable is the reason why we should talk about things. I'm not talking about let's talk about religion and how bad it is to. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, look, but I was in radio for a long time. I was on TV for a long time, and basically the handbook has never changed since 1906, right? And there's still no unpaid, right? The ghost cannot talk to you. Kind of rules still apply.
Yeah, and basically now we find out that according to Finas, every YouTube upload you make or Facebook video you put, you need a license.
That was never in the book. The nonsense. I don't know where the got this thing. It just says every video that you make, every crew that you use to shoot something, you need a license to do it, and which I agree.
Yeah.
But if you're shooting on your own for a YouTube channel and privately, there is no.
Yeah, so the
rules doesn't apply to you.
Interpretation of how you say it when you say this thing was written in the context of 40 years ago.
Exactly.
And then you're interpreting based on today's reality.
Exactly.
I think first you update it to today's standards.
Exactly. And also, no, everything is still like that. And the reason why censorship boards are so stuck up and so rigid is because everybody, if this is the circle, everybody wants to stay in the middle. Nobody wants to touch the line. Because if you touch the line, oh no, finish. But that's the thing. You won't. If you're smart about it.
But there's an assumption that
because they don't know that, look, if you are clever about it, nobody can touch you, right? If you're clever about doing things, there is no way that people can get upset with what you're saying. The fact that, look, if you are stupidly just going head on and crossing the line, then look, freedom of speech comes with responsibility, and I completely understand that. I completely understand that. Look, if you want to say we want to have freedom of speech, I think as a society we need to be a bit more responsible before we can handle this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because obviously, if freedom of speech also comes with freedom of speech to everyone you don't like, freedom of speech also comes to everybody who you don't agree with. Like, for instance, in America, the KKK, they also have freedom of speech to say whatever they want. But however, you don't like it. Therefore, you are saying that, oh no, they cannot say whatever they want, but I can say whatever I want. That is not how responsible freedom of speech is. Freedom of speech is basically something everybody gets to say. Now, in Malaysia, I don't think we can handle that because we don't understand the responsibility that involves that comes with freedom of speech. However, what I'm saying is, if you are clever enough to walk on the line and not cross it, nobody can touch you. And the thing is, that's when people start getting interested in what you have to say. And that's how you start a conversation about something. If you want to talk about politics in Malaysia, yes, it's difficult. I don't mistake. But here's where talent comes in. Here's where your intelligence comes in. You be clever about it. You be clever about what you're talking about. You just don't go out there and name names and this fellow is an asshole, this fellow is an idiot, this fellow is a bloody fool. Yeah, that's just bulldozing your way through the content.
Just to pause. It just came to me. It's last week tonight with John Oliver.
Yeah, John Oliver. Yes, that's one. So yeah,
continue, please.
But you're just bulldozing your facts without actually thinking of what you're doing. But however, if you talk about the issues that they bring up, right? If you talk about how the situation we are in, you're not exactly talking about the politicians. Correct. But however, if they trust it, that's their problem lah. They cannot touch you because I didn't say you did that.
Yeah,
I'm saying like how Viviana, when she did her video, right now. She didn't say anything.
Right.
All she said was, there's no internet here. I have to go on a tree to do the internet. Now, what was she actually saying? The fact that, look, it's Sabah. It's, there's no infrastructure in Sabah. It really needs to this thing. And she brought it into light. Now, the politicians, now they started making noise. They are blaming her for it.
Oh, right? She wants to be a YouTube star.
Yeah, and all that.
She wants likes and views.
Look, listen. All I'm saying is, she ruffled the right feathers. And now we're all talking about it.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
KJ
how you
flies out to meet her with a photo.
Exactly. And then you look at the end of the day, she caused the whole ruckus without actually causing any ruckus. She made a conversation without actually starting anything. She that's what she did. And that's the kind of intelligence we need in our society, in our podcasts, in our TV stations, in our radio stations, that not just the ha good morning, let's do a prank call. That's not what we need.
Okay,
we need more interesting, like BFM do it all the time. They talk about stuff that you think like, can talk but how do they do it? Because they're giving you facts. They're telling the truth. It's not like they're making up some stuff and giving it to you. Because at the end of the day, if you tell the truth and it's reported in the news and you talk about it, how am I doing anything wrong? It's reported in the news, so go after them lah. If this news report is not right, and you are telling me this news report is not right, then okay, fine. Then go after the news report lah. Why you're coming after me? Because I'm talking about this.
But I think there's a fear, right? That
there's always a fear
that people have. Even though I think, although this was before 2018, where for The Edge, the editor for Malaysia Inside editor, they both went in. They were in lockup for a day lah. Okay, it's just a day, right? And I think they were very seasoned journalists.
Also the fact that look, what they did was groundbreaking, and also it was a very big case, right? And also the fact that look,
against a sitting prime minister,
against a sitting prime minister. Now, again, I would say that what they did was not dangerous. It was obviously a calculated risk for them. It was the fact that look,
The law was on their side.
Yeah. And the thing is, look.
Yes, the law was
they
on
were
their side.
martyring themselves very easily. I put myself in the slaughtering block.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But look who's going to come out from this better, a brighter spark. Is it going to be at that time the sitting prime minister or the newspaper who reported the truth? Obviously, the Edge came out better.
Yeah.
With a better name. And I think they opened up again, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was some issue with Malaysia Inside because they acquired Malaysian Inside and then they decided to wind it down. So I'm not an insider.
No, look, at the end of the day, it was obviously...
there's complications there.
I'm sure they took a very calculated risk.
Yeah. No, I think it takes a lot of balls to make that call.
No, of course. The thing is, look, if you didn't have the sense to do it, you would have just went, just let someone else do it. You know, although it needed to be done. That's why I say the media in Malaysia lack a responsibility towards the media that they put out. They like what the Edge did is very responsible of them, and it was the responsible thing to do. Now, I'm not saying that they did it just because they're responsible. No, there was a calculated risk, and obviously there's a financial gain to it.
Yeah.
Put that aside, but however, you know, that is the responsible thing to do, and we need more people responsible like that rather than 61 years of just following. Correct. You cannot. Okay, we won't talk about this. No. Media responsibility is something that we need to take consideration.
Do you think, and I think you mentioned it, but do you think there's two sides to the coin in the sense of the media is responsible for informing the people, so to speak, right?
Yes.
But I think there's also an onus on the people to be responsible citizens in a sense, right? I give you in a very local context.
Okay.
During the MCO, when it was like complete lockdown, no walks and all that, in my little taman here, still had some people going for walks and all that.
No,
right?
Look, you cannot. Okay, it's two very different things.
No, but that's not the issue. I'm not saying the walks are the issue, right? And of course, this taman, we have a WhatsApp group, right? And then all hell broke loose in the WhatsApp group, right? And where people are like, oh, who are these people? Arrest them. Da, da, da. And it was like, no mercy. I'm outraged by this, blah, blah, blah. To a certain point where, because one of the people walking looked white, Caucasian, right? And suddenly they came all this, send them back to their country, kick them out. I hate white people. In a community WhatsApp group, you know.
Okay, I know, I get it.
And I was like, and I'm probably one of the youngest idiots there. And I was like, there's no place for racist comments in here, lah.
Correct.
And this is a community, like, keep your thoughts to yourself.
Correct. And
people were like, oh, this freedom of speech. This was after 2018.
As I mentioned earlier, it's freedom of speech comes with responsibility.
And me being a sarcastic bastard, I'm not apologetic about it. But so my response was, yes, freedom of speech does not mean freedom to insult. You don't have the freedom to simply insult people.
Right.
Although the American version of that means you can say whatever to whoever, I think in our multicultural contextual society, that's just going to stir shit up.
No, also we don't have freedom of speech in Malaysia.
No, I think we do to a certain extent.
No, we don't.
How do you mean?
We can't say anything we want.
What is anything that you want that you can't say?
Why don't you say something about our Ago?
So it's contextual, right?
No, it's not contextual. Therefore, you don't have freedom of speech.
I don't know. So
can the British say something about make a joke about the Queen?
I don't know, man.
They have. I can show you clips now of Jimmy Carr, of Russell Howard, of so many people just making fun of the Queen, and that's freedom of speech. Like, look, they can talk about anything they want to talk about within, of course, without inciting hate and stuff like that. But in Malaysia, we don't have freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of speech because we can't talk about certain things, which is still against the law. Therefore, freedom of speech is not there. But then I agree with that, because if we had freedom of speech, we don't have the responsibility to handle freedom of speech. Because at the end of the day, we don't realize that the freedom of speech comes with a lot of consequence, which we are not ready to handle.
Yeah, so you see, even with,
those racist comments are wrong.
Yeah, but even you see with the context of royalty and all, right, we are not allowed to comment. So if you see it from a context of, if there is someone who is doing like literally insanely criminal stuff and you can't say anything, that seems very wrong. But
yeah, no, of course.
But at the same time, in Malaysia, the royalty is also tied in with as head of state with the religion and so on, right? And I think allowing freedom of speech in the context of religion is just a recipe for disaster, because by definition, each religion believes they are correct, man.
No, of course.
And so if they were suddenly given the freedom of speech, they were allowed to. Every religion can call other people stupid or
they still
idiots,
do.
or yeah,
they still do without.
No, but actually, I think I read something, one of the article recently where somebody said something.
No,
and they are being brought up. I think they're being brought up because they say something like seditious or whatever.
No, and again, as I said, I agree with the fact that we don't have freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of speech in Malaysia. We have the illusion of freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, but you cannot say this. So that's an illusion of freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of speech. But I agree with it because we have to play to the lowest common denominator, the biggest idiots in the world, right? So now, how we are only as smart as the stupidest person here. You get what I'm saying? America thinks they're smart, but they're not, because again, right? In Malaysia, I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but we also have a lot of idiots. We have a lot of idiots who get sensitive. We got a lot of idiots who think they are right, but you are wrong. No matter what it is, right? So that's why we can't have freedom of speech. That's why we can't have, that's why Singapore is so well run, because they also have the same thing, right? You want freedom of speech, but also we give you the consequence. Which one you want? So he's decided, okay, I don't want a consequence, so no freedom of speech. Is that okay? Okay, everybody's fine because they're like, okay, we can't talk about this, but there's no consequence of talking about this and this. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So in the same vein, I think we're saying, and back to your WhatsApp conversation, I think whatever he said is wrong, and that is basically insightful of hate. But however, your question was that should we as a society be more responsible? No. If your leaders are not responsible, then why should we follow? Why should we be more responsible when our leaders are useless?
So you think so, in the sense that there's a saying that you get the government you deserve, right?
That's not what I'm saying. But however, you look at Singapore, okay? Let's take Singapore. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Singapore. I don't like Singapore. I make fun of them all the time. But but they are a model of society which we should aspire to be, because look, the Singaporean citizens, they follow the law. They're also very responsible, right? But also their politicians or their leaders also do the same thing. They are responsible. They take care of the country. They take care of the economy. They handle everything very well. There's hardly any corruption. I'm not going to say no corruption, but hardly any corruption. Why? Because they get paid a lot of money anyway. So at the end of the day, the people will follow the leaders. If you're doing well, if let's say Malaysia is doing as well as Singapore, and we have, we are not a third world country, we are a first world country. We have the finances, we have this, we have that. Everything is run very well. There's no corruption here. The police also won't take bribes and stuff like that. We also will follow the law. Right? We have been spoiled so long with corruption and the running of the country, and the bad examples from our own politicians, basically, taking bribes and misbehaving so badly that we also think like, if they are doing it, we should do it too.
I don't know, man. I think...
have you ever not given a bribe to a policeman?
In my life, no.
Never? Not once?
To anybody.
Wow. Okay. So you're a much better person than I am.
No, it is not about being a better person. I assure you that. Yeah, actually, yes. For the most part of my life, I probably couldn't afford to bribe a policeman.
But if you got the summon, how?
I'd rather take the summon. Any time of the day.
How is it that you got no money to pay the bribe? Bribe $50, bro.
I can show you my file full of the summons. No, but in the sense, it is... Don't get me wrong. I'm not coming from angle of, righteousness and all that. I think the idea of bribery, corrupting, and whatever you said, I agree with you, right? Our system has a lot of corruption built in to it, right? To a certain extent, like if you want to do business, this is the price you got to pay, blah, 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 right? And the way I always see is, so I always have like a duality to looking at things, right? So even in the terms of even if I want to believe in a stereotype like, oh, I think Chinese people like this, right?
Okay.
If I believe in the stereotype, I must be okay for Chinese people to believe that, oh, Indian people are like that. Because if I can make the call, then they should also be able, and I must be able to accept.
Okay.
Right?
No, that's fair.
Right? So even when it comes to concepts like bribery, for me, yes, the cop asks for a bribe or wants a bribe, but we giving a bribe, we are as culpable in the sense that we share the responsibility.
Agree. And I completely agree. That is not. I'm not saying that. Oh no, that's not right. I've bribed cops before in my life because I didn't want to I didn't want the hassle of paying the fine. But however, it was nothing to do with the fact that it's like of course I felt guilty at the end of it. But then guess what? I got away.
No,
right?
And again, I am not passing any type of
of course
judgment.
Again, it's not a judgment. No, I will try now. I mean, of recent times. I mean, after 2018 basically, I will do my utmost to not pay the bribe.
I hear you in the sense that it doesn't make sense.
I've not paid a bribe since 2018. I'm just saying I'm just saying that I will try my utmost because I know I am weak of the flesh.
No, but you have a valid point. I think it just doesn't make sense. For example, if all Malaysians go out now and say, "Oh, we'll never pay bribes to cops," just say it, right? The cops lose their income because your basic salary is shit.
The basic salary $800.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense in a sense. So in order for us to be more responsible, non-bribing citizens, we also have to recognize that these jobs need to be better trained,
better paid. Yeah. Look, in Singapore, the police don't have to take a bribe because you know what, their basic salary is 2,000 Singapore dollars. And look, let's not even make the exchange rate. Okay, for 2,000 Singapore dollars, you can live in a house, you can buy a car, you can live with a family of four comfortably. In Malaysia, you're getting paid 800 ringgit. For 800 ringgit, if you eat Maggi mee every day, also you will die. You know what I'm saying? It's just not enough.
Yeah.
Now the basic, the minimum salary has gone up to what, 900 or 1,000, depends on where you stay.
It's still ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know people who make 10,000 ringgit a month, household income of 10,000 ringgit a month. It's still not enough.
Bro, I know people who household income is, joint income is 20K. Can't afford to have kids.
Yeah. Because why? Because house loan now, let's say you have to pay 2,500 ringgit for house loan or rent. Either way, you have to pay for savings. You need to pay for your car. Car is 1,000 already. That's another 4,000-5,000 here there. And then food is not cheap anymore. Then you spend 2,000 ringgit on food. You are left with what? Nothing. You're left with pittance. And at the end of the day, you come back and you think to yourself, like, how are these people living? Like, I used to work as an engineer, right? I used to get paid 3,000 ringgit or 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. And my technicians were getting paid 900 ringgit. Like, I'm looking at them going like, how do you survive?
No, it's a weird system, right? Like, I think one of the early jobs that I got into was I was working for a security company. Not as a security guard, although that's what it looks like.
No, security manager. Okay.
Yeah. So I was one of those. I was actually in sales, but you tend to take over places. So one of the guards, who's probably one of the better performing responsible guards, this guy, who actually looks like he was in the army, he was negotiating his salary. We got a new project. I wanted to make him the head, and then he was negotiating salary. I was a young idiot, 20-something, didn't know shit, right? So I was just told to press the salary as low as you can, negotiate. And the guy we were offering 1,002, he wanted 1,004. Okay. Right? And I was negotiating. And then he tells me, hey, I have 8 kids.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? I was like, then my conversation stopped. Let's talk about it. So how are you living, even at 1,008, how are you paying for a wife, children? And he was saying that there are some welfare systems that kind of support for kids and blah, blah, blah. Which is fucked up. I mean, it's not fucked up that it's helping. I think it's fucked up that they make you get addicted to the government machinery, and then you kind of think you need this machinery when actually you just need to get paid better.
Exactly.
Right? And so that kind of...
Did you give him 1,400?
1,008. I agreed. I don't know whether the
boss
HR, I could put in my recommendation, but it's a young shit, right? Nobody cares what I think. So the reality is, some people think 20,000 a month is not enough.
Yeah. No, my technician at that time also same as you. I gave him what he wanted because he wanted 1,008 and we were going to offer him 1,002 or 1,003 or something like that. And basically I just told him like, look, I want to give you the 1,008. I just don't know why, because I knew that he had a disabled child and another child also on the way, wife not working. He's the only breadwinner of the family, and this guy was the guy. Like, I'm the engineer. Yes, I do the designs, I do everything, but I would listen to this guy. If he says like, don't do that, do this, I would listen to him because he's been working for like 10 years. Like, I know this is the, like, what he says goes, right?
Yeah.
So, and the thing is like, look, I basically just told my boss like, look, we can give him 1,002, no problem. He'll probably take it, but in a month time, this guy is going to come in and give him a salary of 1,006, and he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Right. So if we give him 1,008 now, if he comes in 1,006, he's not going to leave because we're still paying him more.
Nice.
Which is what the boss agreed and paid him 1,008. Nice. But that's the same thing that's supposed to happen to our civil defense and our civil service.
Yeah.
Right, with police and everything. If you give them enough money to survive, to live, to do things, they don't need to take bribes.
See, that's the irony, right? I think the irony of running a government is when we ask logical questions, they want to give logical answers, right? But the problem is we have so much inefficiencies in terms of bribery, project cost, blah, blah. We are probably overpaying for most things by 40% conservatively.
Conservatively, yes.
So this is a big jump from our Mr. 10%.
Yes.
This is now going to 40-50%, right? So in that sense, we probably can afford to pay everybody better.
Yeah, of course.
With this so-called black money that we are not talking about.
Yeah.
If you talk about, we can't balance the budget, I say, because there's so much of it that is inflated.
And our tax systems are very outdated in so many ways. Our tax service is this. You're not taxing the rich. You're taxing the middle class. That's what you're doing. That's 90. No, I wouldn't say 90%, but I would say like a lot of your income comes from the middle class, and that's not what is supposed to happen. It's supposed to come from the upper class.
Yeah.
But you're taxing the middle class more than you're taxing the
but if the upper class is making the rules, it's kind of difficult to.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. It's all cronyism. It's all corruption. It's all that's what's happening. Basically, like the schemes like HRDF and stuff like that. Where's the money going?
Yeah.
Like, it's all there's no transparency, which is why everything's so rampant now. I believe that, look, at the end of the day, if we go through tax reforms, if we go through an economic reform, as we call it, like PH promised us would happen, I believe that we would have an excess of money by a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened in Penang. Basically, they went through that. They went through a tax and economic reform from being if I'm not mistaken, hundreds of millions in debt to a surplus of money within 4 years. The same thing could happen to a country. Like I believe that look, the corruption needs to phase out. It will take longer for a country than a state.
I think to phase out corruption is
it takes a long time.
But also it's asking the impossible.
It's not.
Here's where I'm coming from, right? Although that's why I say I'm not coming from a righteous place, right? I believe that you can do 10%, fine. We can accept
10% reduction.
No, I mean 10%.
Okay, corruption.
You sink into corruption, or commission. Let's call it commission, right? So it is still a lot of money. You're still talking billions and billions of dollars. But now, the greed is so much. Is they want to be rich in one project. So example,
I understand this, and I completely understand this. But why is it that a country like Singapore can do it, and why can't we? The same people, no?
I don't know for a fact if Singapore is corruption free, lah.
No, it's not. There's no such thing as corruption free.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they are in the world, highest paid politicians. Singapore is in the top 10. right? They pay their politicians well. To be fair, after Syed Saddiq, they think our politicians get paid 45,000 ringgit a month. Now that's a lot of money. Okay. Now all I'm saying is, look, if you want to make the 10%, we give you in salary lah. Okay. Make the 10%. It's up to you. I'm not saying that, look, we're gonna wipe it out completely, but we are it's so bad in Malaysia. It's so bad. Everybody takes a bribe. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand.
From even private companies.
Yeah.
The most of the purchasing people, they would take a bribe to get the project. No problem. I've done it before.
Yes.
I mean, not getting, but paying.
It's a joke.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I used to work for a company that we used to sell, what do you call it? The refrigeration systems and stuff like that. We used to go to companies. I won't name the company, obviously, but we went to the company. Purchasing officer took me aside, said, "Look, if you want the project, give me you give me 100,000. The project is 2.4 million. You give me 100,000. So I go back to my boss, and my boss is like,
inflate the bill lah.
Yeah, just 2.5 million now. So, but the thing is, we get the deal lah. Well, Google listening, huh?
It has a defined beginning and end in time, and therefore defined scope and resources.
Okay.
Project
Stop it lah.
It's not a routine operation.
It's freaky, bro.
Yeah, no. Google is listening. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Just don't
Google
piss off.
decides to become the world governor king of things. We should be really worried lah.
No, Google AI is getting there, and it's fun. There's actually an app I saw yesterday, which was Quick Draw, or you draw and then people guess. So there's an AI that you can play with Google.
Wow.
So they give you a board, right? You draw what you want, and Google will guess what you're drawing. But obviously they give you you buy a motorcycle. So you draw a motorcycle, then you'll guess okay, I see a ball, I see this thing. Oh, I know that's a motorcycle.
Man, it's freaky.
So I obviously, as a person, I started drawing
cock and balls.
Cock and balls. And Google said, I don't know what you're drawing. Stop.
Oh man. I mean, okay, so I don't know if that's something that we can have an answer for lah. I mean, it's something
I think it's possible. I just think it's not possible with the people we have in charge.
Okay, so my observation, which I don't know whether it's true or not, my observation is because the practice is so entrenched, right? That we assume it's the ministers taking all the money, but sometimes the assistants, the guys who introduce, So even like during the MCO, for example, I'll give you a simple example, and I think it is what you're mentioning about private sector. Even during the MCO, I had a merchandising business, right? We went completely quiet because no events, no nothing, companies were not doing anything, so zero revenue. So suddenly everybody wanted to buy masks and all that. So we do what we can. Okay lah, I can source from some of my suppliers in China and all that. And then suddenly I got into a whirlwind of every event guy was also selling masks and all this, right? And then there was a buyer. We go see the buyer. Suddenly we turn up, right? And then it's like 5 people there.
Yeah.
Oh, who are these 5 people? Oh, he introduced me, he introduced me, he introduced me, he introduced me. And then the buyer is not even there.
Yeah.
And then to myself, it's like, man, there's so much points of inflation, right? And it's not like I'm making a 10% markup.
Yeah.
You're making like ridiculous markups along the way. The guy there is probably paying double the price what he's supposed to pay.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why do we feel that we can just keep inflating? And of course, the deals all don't go through lah, because if the client is smart, he just find the guy who's a deal.
No, okay. If we clean up the top, right? If we clean up the top, the anti-corruption agency, I think, will be a little bit more relevant to the system, because you see, if the anti-corruption agency cannot catch these people, but they're going after these people, it becomes very hypocritical of them, right? But if we clean up the top, and all we have to do is basically, okay, I increase all your salaries, okay, from the cops to the politicians to this thing. I increase your salary because now you don't need to get bribed, right? But now the moment there is a what do you call that? There's a complaint. You will get arrested and you will get tried, right? You will this thing. And I think that, look, the reason why we pay bribes now is because we know we can, right? If there's a slight inkling of
you'll get caught,
people will stop. And if there is a reason for me to pay the bribe, okay, if the cops, they get a reward every time.
But they do though.
Yeah, I know.
It's just not.
No, they get a reward every time they
catch somebody who's
somebody who's bribing.
Yeah.
Right. Then I will stop bribing.
No, but
he will stop taking.
But
bribes.
we have that system.
No, not the reward.
No, we do.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Okay.
But it's just, I think it is a quid pro quo where they don't practice it because they don't ruin everybody.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's the thing. You see, look. If I can go to MHCC and I say, look, I approve. This guy wants to take a bribe, right? And the thing is, look, as a company also, we didn't want to pay the 100,000 to that purchaser.
Yeah.
But we had no choice. Yeah. If we wanted the project, that's what we need
because
to do.
If you don't pay, somebody else will.
Yeah, and we knew we were the better solution anyway.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, this is what you do, right? We knew that if there was no bribes, we would have got the project because we were the best quality at the lowest price. Right? We knew we would have got that project. But however, just to appease this guy, he did that lah. So okay, trip to Germany, whatever, throw in.
So just say we listening to what you're saying, right? Which means which actually is very relevant to what's happening now in the sense of what like Syed Saddiq and all is doing is creating a totally new, fresh party. I don't know whether it's the right thing. I have not formed an opinion on it yet.
Okay.
But I think it's interesting to get young people in.
Okay.
And
also,
hopefully,
just for context sake, I don't believe in government.
Okay, we have gone left, lah, macam. I mean, how are you gonna?
No, I don't believe in government. I don't believe governmental system is in our society today. I don't think we need an accountant to count our money. Yes, and then we prioritize everything. And then we let everybody govern themselves.
The stigma of a government has changed because of experience, but in essence, they are administrators. They are supposed to be administrators.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The thing about governments is that it's very easily corruptible.
Power
is corruptible, but they are not supposed to be in power. They are not in power. They are not the person making the decision. We are the people making decisions. At the end of the day, look, it's like a tweet. Okay, there is a reason why tweets cannot be deleted, cannot be edited. Right? Because you could say, this.
You can edit, right?
You can say something really nice. You cannot. Tweets cannot. Because if you can edit, just imagine if I say, unicorns are great, and then I get 1,400 retweets and 4 million likes.
Okay.
And then I change it to Ija is an asshole.
Okay.
So that's why you can't edit tweets.
Okay.
Right. And there's a reason for that. And the reason and that is the same reason we should have it. Governments cannot be edited as well. Because at the end of the day, people change their minds. Because
what do you mean governments can't be edited?
We elect Syed Saddiq. Okay, let's say I'm not saying this will happen, but let's say Syed Saddiq, we agree with his points of view, blah blah blah. Okay, we elect him. Next thing you know, he jumps to UMNO. You have just voted for UMNO, no? Which is exactly the opposite of what we tried to do, which basically happened in 2020, just before this thing. That's basically what happened. We voted for people who jumped back into the bed with the people we didn't want to vote for. So at the end of the day, that's why governments fail. Because it's power. Because eventually you get power.
Pakistan have no
jumping
party policy that they were supposed to sign, or that never happened? Because it's part of one of their manifestos, right?
Yes,
to stop
but
the
they
party
didn't do it,
jumping.
because obviously something like this will do it.
I guess it's not jumping if you take the whole party away.
No, but they also needed more support. I think they kind of held it back because they wanted more of the other side to join in, so that they had a better base of power to do things as well. But however, at the end of the day, power corrupts, and if you have power, what we need is not a person in power, but we need a person who administrates. Right? We need an accountant to count our money. We need maybe a police force. Yes. We need a lawyer to run the laws. That's what we need. We don't need somebody to make decisions and say, oh, you do this, and stuff like that. Why are they put on a pedestal when they are not supposed to be on a pedestal? They are supposed to be our servants.
Yeah, but by sheer scale of things, when you are, even if you are a servant but you serve 30 million people, 100 million people, you become important, because
look at it at the point of a servant. Okay, you serve one person, you're a servant.
Okay.
You serve 30 people, you're still a servant. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
You serve 30 million, you're still a servant. You have to, I mean, the government has to work for us, not we work for the government. That's what's happening now everywhere. In Malaysia especially, we look at it.
I don't think we work for the government.
We do though.
Do we?
We do. That's how it seems to be.
Okay.
We work for the government.
The
government's supposed to work for us.
No, I think I relate. I relate with a lot of things that you're saying, right?
Okay.
But I think the disconnect is our system is not flawed. Our in the sense that in an ideal scenario, you can argue the validity of the system because the system is supposed to work. But because the system is there's a lot of corruption throughout the system doesn't work the way we want to work. So, for example, we thought, having an opposition party take over will change everything, right? But when I talk to people who are smarter than me, and most people are, and they think but they tell me you see, the guys who are in power before, they had their set of cronies and people who are funding them, right? Who are getting all the projects, blah, blah, blah. So there's also a bunch of guys who are not getting the projects, who is supporting the opposition, right? Yeah. So even if somebody new comes into power, there's still vested interest because Ija maybe not paying for supporting the political party, but somebody else was financing and all that. And when they get into power, there's favors.
And I get that, which is why that power shouldn't be on them.
Yeah, but how do is there a system of reference that exists that we can look at and go hey, maybe something
communism, but no.
Oh man, there's a lot of dead bodies.
Actually, Karl Marx had an idea, and to be fair,
why are we not going back further to Nazi Hitler?
No, that different. Nazi is different. But no, I'm just saying. I don't believe it.
I know you're joking. I know you're joking. No, I know you're joking. I'm not.
Communism is great on paper. It's just not great on practice.
Yeah, I think most of the things that we talk about, right? One of the I dare say philosophy it's a heavy word, but one of the philosophies that I heard from this basketball coach, it's an old basketball coach called John Wooden. So he comes up, he does a lot of training and programs and all that. So one of the things that he keeps saying that is not all change is progress, right? But there can be no progress without change.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right? So in the sense that sometimes we just want to change for the sake of changing. But doesn't mean every time you change, you're moving forward, right?
Yeah, no, correct.
But at the same time, if you want to make things better, you have to change.
Yes.
And recognizing that, applying that is how I see, maybe now with Side Sadik and this thing, we don't know whether this is the change that is good for us or bad for us. But it is like a roll of the dice, right? We need some type of multicultural neutrality. That value we need. Would I have preferred if KJ and Nurul and Rafizi came together and did something of that?
Right.
Probably will hold a lot more water, right? So now there's this.
Would it though? Would it
in the sense that these guys have a political following in the sense, right? Yeah. So now
So basically, you're saying that if they had better social media following, it would be better
No, not necessarily
Here's my thing about it, right? Okay, so what Side Sadik doing is great. It's still not inclusive, but it's great.
Sorry, why do you say it's not inclusive?
Because it's only young people.
Is there a limit? Does he put a limit?
Yeah, that's where this thing. That's where I wanted to go to as well.
Okay.
So where's the limit? How okay, he's what, 20 something? Right? He reaches 30, does it end? or does he have to go to the other party now? Or when he reach 40, what happens? And that's why it's not inclusive. Like,
legit, I'm asking because I don't know.
I also don't know.
Okay.
He also don't know, I think. Because he also will grow older. If he goes on with his party, he will grow older too.
Yeah.
And then one day when he reaches 40, where does he fit?
But actually,
where does he go?
By Malaysian standard, most of the youth Pemuda parties are also 40-something.
Yeah, but now the PH brought it down to 30, right? So, no, and also the fact that, look, for me, I'm 40, right? Where do I fit? Do I fit in with his party?
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of things he says. The young should take over. Correct.
But we are not young. But
I'm not young.
Yeah, I hear you.
I disagree with this old party because they old. Shut up, die lah. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, just go peacefully and retire. Okay, but where do I fit in? Do I fit in here? Do I fit in here?
I see your point. I see your point.
It doesn't take away from the previous this thing of race-based parties. Now that is even more.
It is a different type of.
It's more destructive, I would say, because at the end of the day, race-based parties. I don't know why we are still doing race-based parties.
Because it's a should have a formula from the past.
I understand.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, but that's where we need to. Why do we need race-based parties? There's no reason for us to be in this situation. Like now, for instance, we need an ideology-based party. We need to vote for one ideology or the other. Do you want this ideology or do you want this ideology? That's what is happening in every part of the world. When you go to UK, the Tories have one ideology. The Lib Dems have one ideology. That's what you choose from. In America, the Democrats have one ideology. No, that's no, and they chose the ideology, right? The Democrats have one and the Republicans have one, right? And you choose between those two. I mean, there's others, but let's face it, it's these two, right? And the same thing should happen in Malaysia. We should have an ideology-based party. If I like what your ideology is, if I like your manifesto, if I like, okay, you're going to do this, and this, and I like it, okay, fine, I'll go with this. Right? I don't have to, because you will take care of the Indians, because you will take care of the China, because you'll take care. I don't care. Take care of everybody. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? Why do I need to go to one party and ask him for help? I should be able to go to anyone and ask him for help if I'm in trouble.
I hear you, but I also think that in Malaysia, based on my limited knowledge, there's no difference in ideology among the parties. In the sense that it's all
it's the race thing. That's what they're fighting for. If you vote for them, your race would fail. If you vote for this fella, your race would be diminished. Like, listen, okay? If first of all, if you are in a party, if you are in government and you think that the race will fail, you are not a good leader to begin with. If you're just helping if you create a party to just help one race, you are not a good politician. Shut up and die.
I think it is tough to associate being a good human being versus a good, effective politician. I think it's two different things. Right?
No. But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. In the sense that, in politics they are very much about what can we say to get the most votes. Right.
And I agree, but the thing is, that's the reason why the government or the politicians want to keep the media stupid. Coming back full circle, right? Look, that's the reason why
your show is coming out on
it's basically that's the reason why the government keeps the media stupid, right? Because if the media is stupid, the people consuming the media become stupid, and when they become stupid, guess what? It's easier for me to control because I can tell you shit that you want to hear. Like, hey, look, your race is being prosecuted. Your race is doing this. Your race is doing that. If you vote for us, we will take care of you. Hey, shut up lah. You were supposed to take care of me lah, bastard.
But
it's not because I vote for you, because you're supposed to take care of me.
Yes, but I think the way you think is not very common lah.
No, it should. But
that's the thing. It's not. I think even if we say, okay lah, let's not talk about Greater Malaysia. We talk about urban, say people who are more educated, more worldly, have traveled, seen the world.
This is why I don't believe in politicians. This is why I don't believe in politics. This is why I don't believe in government.
Yeah, but you see, even if you talk to people...
Also don't believe in marriage, but that's a different thing.
So now I know where all this stems from. Like, it's the long form of way of saying, why do we have to get married?
Why? Why you need to get the government involved?
You just want to abolish JPM. But the thing is, even among, people who we make the assumption of, smart, educated, worldly people, they still dance around the same idiosyncrasies of race, religion.
Yeah, because that's what they've known. We've been doing this since we were 7. Right? The schools, the education system, basically, Malay is one thing, Chinese is one thing, Indian is one thing. We are negara majmuk, right? But negara majmuk, yes, but then they segregate. Or the Indians did this, or the Chinese did this, or the Malays did this, or the Malays were the one who fought for the race. Hey, look, we have been segregated since we were kids, and when we grow up, that's what we know. We know, UMNO is this. We know this thing is this. We know, okay, the Malay kids will go to Islam, and we will study moral, right? And then we will learn Tamil or Chinese or whatever.
So I don't know whether I have told you this before, and maybe this is relevant to my viewpoint. I am not Malaysian.
Okay. Thank you very much for this. My cat got pregnant lah.
No. Why I said? I mean, my mom is Malaysian.
Okay.
I've been here for the longest time. My wife is Malaysian. My kid is Malaysian. I'm as Malaysian as they come lah, right?
Okay,
I went to government school and all that. But because I was born in India, right? So I have an Indian passport, right?
Okay. I thought you're Singaporean.
No,
okay, I'm staying for a while.
So in that sense that I've always kind of felt and observed things almost like an outsider. Although nobody will come up to me and say, hey, you are not a Malaysian, blah, blah, blah. But, from that point of view, right?
But couldn't you get like a Malaysian IC? Because it was your dad, obviously.
Dad is Indian.
Okay.
So we follow the patriarchal system.
Okay.
And, so I always tend to see things from an outsider point of view, right? And to that extent, everything that we see here is not unique to Malaysia. What we see here, I dare say happens in Singapore, happens in India, happens in the US, in the UK.
Okay.
This ideology of being race-based and religion-based, blah,
Singapore
blah.
doesn't have a race-based party.
But some will argue that there is a whole control of Christians and they are they will. I mean, I'm not saying these are facts. I don't believe in them.
No. But
the argument can be made lah.
Yes. No. It's controlled by a majority Chinese population, and I agree with that. But also, you have to understand that their party itself doesn't say that they are Chinese or PAP, like People's Action Party or whatever. So they fight for Singaporean. They don't fight for Singaporean Chinese. They don't fight for Singaporean Indian. There is no party for Singaporean Indians. There is no party for Singaporean Malay. There is no party for Singaporean Chinese. There are party for Singaporean.
I do feel that there is segregation, not systemic segregation, but
see, like in India, the BJP is Hindu.
Yeah,
it's a Hindu party.
Yeah,
right. And then you have but why do you need a religion-based party? It's a whole new this thing also.
I mean, India has it's a bag of worms that makes Malaysia look like paradise, bro.
So, but is that what we're trying to aspire to be? Or are we aspiring to be a slightly better or nearer country to us, which is Singapore, which doesn't, you see,
I don't know whether Singapore is what I would aspire
I
to
would.
be.
I would. And I mean, look.
And don't get me wrong. There is a lot of things about Singapore that I like. And
like their money.
No, but in the sense that,
their food don't like.
Leaders like Mahathir and Lee Kuan Yew are a different breed of animal and how,
Okay. Mahathir, young time lah.
Okay. Well, Lee Kuan Yew is not around anymore, right?
No, but Lee Kuan Yew, at least he knew when to let go lah.
To his son.
No, well, there was some degree of separation.
Come on.
Someone else took over, then only the son.
So, now, I see what you mean, where there's certain aspects of society where you don't have to worry about law and order. You don't have to worry about, if somebody with a lot of power, they can just come and kill you and get away with it. There's some semblance of law and order and, and there's no such thing as bribing the court. So I think there are definitely aspects of society that I like lah, but I also think Singapore being Singapore and being the their geography, how small they're much easily governed than what Malaysia is.
Again, you cannot take the size of the country to heart, because yes, it's like it's smaller than a state, and I understand it, but they've got more money than all of us, all our states put together, right? And also the fact that, look, governing a smaller place doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier. The ideology is still the same. The morality is still the same, and also the fact that the points is still the same, because at the end of the day, what they did was, the one thing they did differently from us is merit. They appointed based on merit. They gave power based on merit, and they basically, it didn't matter whether you're Chinese, Indian, Malay.
But I think if you talk to people, I think that's the human nature. I think people will always say, "Oh, there's a bias," or
because it's 70% Chinese. And I get it. There's a bias, but nobody in if you talk to Singaporeans, right, and ask them if there's a bias, 20% of them will say yes. There's always going to be that 20%, right? But however, at the end of the day, the 80% of them are okay with it.
Interesting. Okay. No, don't get me wrong. I think
a well-run country. Okay, if the country is in turmoil, and then they turn around, they say, "Yala, because you Chinese people ran the place to the ground." Then okay, I understand, but it's well-run. No complaints on. Okay, let me put this. Let me put this to you in a different context. Okay, if Manchester United was winning all the leagues, okay, would you be okay with the Glazers?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but now you have a problem with the Glazers, right?
I don't.
No, but they're not buying the people.
To fire Woodward.
He's part of the Glazers. The only way that they can fire Woodward, which is the Prime Minister, is to get rid of the Glazers.
Yeah,
because he made the Glazers a lot of money, and to be fair, I mean, if I were the Glazers, I wouldn't get rid of Ed Woodward as well, because he's making me a lot of money. But however, at the end of the day, when you look at it, if they were winning all the leagues and they were winning the FA Cup, they were winning the Champions League, nobody cares about the Glazers. Okay, the Glazers can take out money, put us in debt, whatever they can do. Okay, but nobody cares, right? But however, now they're not winning.
Right.
They're in turmoil.
Right.
They are down the dubs. They'll be number 6 for the longest time. Suddenly number 3, right? But that's when, okay, now we have a problem with the owners. We have the problem with the people who run the system.
Yeah.
The same thing with the country. If for instance, if your country is not running well, and it's the same government that's been running it for 60 or 70 or 80 or 100 years, then maybe there's a problem with the government lah.
And I think that's why we had a temporary shift.
Temporary shift and then shift back.
Yeah. So
cannot.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I hear your frustration. I don't know. I'm a lot more appreciative of the potential of what Malaysia is. I mean, there are a lot of things that
the problem is this potential is dwindling. We are running out of oil. We are running out of a lot of things. Okay, we have abundance of palm oil. But guess what? No, we cannot sell to anybody now. So at the end of the day, with all this dwindling, our potential is dwindling. If we did this change maybe 10 years ago, we would have been in a lot better place.
It's hard to say, man. I think it's, in reality, we can't even predict the future 5 years in advance.
Of course we can't.
Right? So even, I give you a stupid example, right? Like in New York, I think this was in the 1800s or early 1900s, I'm not sure, where it was, before the car, was all horse-drawn carriage, right? And when the city planners were looking at it, and they were looking at how to manage, the biggest issue then was managing horse shit, basically manure, right? Because their cars shed at that point, right? And when the city planners were looking at it, they said that New York will be doomed within the next, I think, 10 years or 20 years, because there'll just be too much shit on the road that we cannot manage, right? Because they did not even know that cars will be invented and this will be gone, right? So to that point, we actually don't know what we don't know, right? In the sense that, yes, we seem, whatever we have now, it's slipping out of our fingers. But in a greater context, we actually don't know what we don't know, right?
No, fair enough. No, I agree. But also, we need to. There is a reason why they said that, things will be. New York will be covered in shit in 20 years, which is fair because then the cars were invented. Okay, that averted that danger.
Yeah.
Okay, something could happen that we could.
No, it was not a danger. It was just that they wrote off the city.
Yeah,
As city plans, they just wrote it off, saying this will not go anywhere, because they couldn't even realize or factor in, because it didn't exist. It's not to say they're stupid.
I get it. And in 5 years down the line, maybe we could find a new. Maybe palm oil will be the new petrol, and then we guess what? We're going to be rich again. Yeah. But we can't what do you call it? Plan based on that. We have to plan based on what we know now, and our potential is dwindling.
Yes, I think my approach is probably if I were to look at things, maybe the last 10 years.
Okay.
Right? When I started following news and politics seriously, instead of just looking at the sports section. I do feel things are getting better. Things are still shitty. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we are getting better. The fact that somebody, let's not even talk about side setting, right? The fact that somebody can even talk about setting up a non-race. I know DAP is also a non-race based party, right?
No, but everything is their fault.
But unfortunately,
everything is their fault.
The branding, whether externally or by the opposition, they've been branded as a Chinese party, right? So, so if somebody who can start that, I think that is a good move, lah.
It's a move. Picard also not a race-based party.
Yeah, but you see
but somehow or other.
See, when PK started, it was the coalition was what Kadilan and PAS and all that. So there was very strong racial, religious nuances in that, So again, like if you on a macro view, things are getting better. So in that sense, and I agree. I agree with you. I'm very hopeful on that trajectory, lah.
Of the side Sadiq thing.
No, not side Sadiq. On overall how we are moving in terms of politics.
Because there's way too many Malay parties now. We have Bersatu. Okay, we have that whatever the Mahathir's party is called, Tua or whatever.
Right.
And then we have UMNO. Okay. And then we have PAS. Okay. MIC, MCA. Although, they're still parties. Right? We still have too many race-based parties.
It will reconcile after the elections.
Gerakan.
Like how MCA disappeared after the 2018.
They're still there though.
Yeah, they're there because one person won a seat, right? But
same MCA, MIC lah.
They will I think that they will have to reconcile. Now everybody's thinking they can win seats, they can do all that. I think that's a natural way of them to, they have to kind of reconcile. Like, they can't just exist as it is.
No, but they will reconcile as they think. But at the end of the day, it'll be a collection, it'll be a coalition of race. Like Barisan Nasional used to be. Again, Barisan Nasional was not representative of the race. It was a collaborative coalition of the races, which is not what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be Malaysians working for Malaysians. It's not you want your race to be represented, here's MCA. You want your race to be represented, here's MIC. You want your race to be represented, here's UMNO. No, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from an very idealistic viewpoint.
I understand, but that's how that what I'm saying is that's how people should look at it. I know it's a long shot.
It's not even a long shot, right? I think it is. When you talk about implementing something like that on the grassroots level, it's not feasible.
We've rotted for way too long.
No, it's not even that, right? To give you a simple example, right? So many years ago, one of my investors invested in me and told me the caveat for investing in me is over the years I should improve my Tamil. Okay, and he could not speak Tamil, right? And I was like, why is this even a factor? You can't speak Tamil, right? And he said, no, if you become a success story, I hope that one day you will go into the rubber estate and all that and talk to these Indian kids and talk to them in Tamil and tell them like somebody like them can also become successful, can become educated, blah, 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 and all that, right? So then that got me thinking but this guy's got money, he is a success, right? But if he goes down to the estate in his fancy car, speaks in English, gets a translator, people will not relate.
Yeah.
So in that sense, if tomorrow I want to become Prime Minister and I'm speaking in English and whatnot, if I go to a community that speaks majority Malay, they're not going to relate to me. So that's why the race-based parties were there, because at the beginning, these were representatives of those communities whom they trusted. What it evolved and transformed into is different, lah. But I think the essence was we wanted representation from
the
all
essence,
the minorities.
The essence and the distinct is always pure.
Yeah. So so,
of course.
So in the sense that if we now go back and say that, we should be representative of all, then that also means that we need to agree on fundamental things like, we should all as Malaysians be able to speak Malay.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah. But that's not the case. But that is literally not the case. I have friends. I can speak fluent Malay. You ask me to write a letter to the government, I'll write you an official letter, right?
Okay, write for me.
Yeah, can. But bribery letter, I'm not very good. I don't know how to do. But my friends who are Malay or Chinese or even Indian, some of them can't even speak Malay. Sometimes I have to translate words for them.
Okay.
Right? So in that sense that even you hear parliament speeches, right? Sometimes even the opposition, our current opposition, sometimes some of them, their Malay is really bad. They speak with a very bad accent.
If a politician cannot speak Malay, there's something wrong or no?
For me, the way I look at it is you can probably make fun of the way they speak Malay.
Who?
Right?
Apart from Samuel.
I'm not so in touch
with
to have their names.
Everyone that I know, political wise, they speak Malay very fluently. Yo Biyin, Hanayo, the Batu guy. I can't even remember his name. But I think all of them they speak very good Malay.
Yeah, but you also listing the superstars, the Anthony and these guys are good, are effective, but we need more people.
Yeah, we need more people who can speak the language as well. Like if you can't speak the language, then maybe you shouldn't run to be a leader, because you're not a leader. You're not showing the examples that you need to show.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of things that the country needs
I
to
believe that the leader should also be multilingual, because we are in a multilingual country.
Tough.
When I say multilingual, I mean BM and English. Both.
Yes.
English because they need to speak to international dignitaries. Without this thing. BM because they need to speak locally. Right? They need to be fluent in both. And if you can't, if you're not good at maths, you can't be an engineer. Okay? If you are not good in bio, you're not going to be a doctor.
I think
if you get an F in biology and you end up becoming a doctor, I'm not going to you as a doctor, no. I'm not showing you my rash. You understand what I'm saying? This is the qualifications for you to be a politician. How can you say that? Oh no, some people are not. And if they can't do it, then you're not qualified, lah. Go and learn.
Yeah, but you see, I think I have no doubt that every single one of them will pass the BM test, lah. But whether you can speak the language as a first language is
it comes to the point that look, you are not you don't just suddenly become a politician. You work your way also, right? At the end of the day, if you don't have the capability of speaking the language that you need to speak, then maybe you don't get to be in that level. You get what I'm saying? That's a qualification of you. It's a job.
Yeah, but that's not reflective of
what we are now. That's where we are all spoiled.
I don't think we are spoiled. I think
the country is in ruins.
You see, for example, I give you examples, right? Like the whole ISID incident after the election, right? People wanted to pass ISID. ISID seems like a very fair and reasonable
great
request,
idea,
right?
Yeah.
But the people who are championing ISID, right, obviously was the non-Malay community, right? Mostly lah, not
okay, not really, okay.
But unfortunately, when I look at ISID, like today, most of the discrimination is not coming from, say, the Malay community, right? If I'm looking at a professional point of view, from getting jobs and all that, there is a preference for each race to help their own race. They might not say it out loud. They might not admit to it publicly or have it on a piece of paper. Or some they have must speak Chinese.
But why is that?
I think, see, the why is, we put that aside, right?
No, we can't.
No.
We can't. Because it's a systematic thing. Because they know that, okay, let's say the Chinese helping the Chinese, the Indians helping the Indians. They know because at the end of the day, the government is giving everything to Malay. So why shouldn't I help?
That doesn't work.
No, but
the argument doesn't work.
I know, an eye for an eye makes the whole place blind. But how the argument doesn't work. But that is why it happens. The systematic racism of the situation makes it happen.
No, see, the problem is you can't solve that situation because the situation kind of permeates itself in the sense that...
No, and I agree with you.
Yeah, so you cannot fix a system that doesn't want to fix itself.
I agree with you, but also the part that I don't agree with you is that we should not look at why. We should look at why.
See, the why is very... I think every ethnicity in Malaysia has a justification for what they do. And they can give you examples where it's relevant. In the sense that, we are not getting government jobs. So that's why we have to support the Indians or the Chinese. All right. So everybody will be able to give it. So, and even...
No, and then, but again, whether it's justified or not, the reason comes back to the point that it failed.
What failed?
The whole, NEP.
I don't know.
It failed. It failed to what do you call that? To alleviate what they wanted to alleviate, but also it destroyed what they didn't want to destroy.
I don't know. The NEP is like it's a can of worms because there's intention.
We went from clowning to NEP
yeah,
now.
I mean, it's like heavy stuff. I don't know how much of this I can actually edit out.
Okay, I'm not saying anything bad about the NEP, blah, 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 anything. But however, if we take it back and we say like, look, at the end of the day, why would the people afraid of ISIS? ISIS. Okay, I did right. Okay.
ISIS is a delivery company.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
they had to change the name.
I send. So that's what you're talking about.
No, okay, I said.
Yeah.
So why would they oppose to it?
Yeah, because there was this naturalized rights that they didn't want to let go of.
They got because
that's perception. It's a perception.
It's a perception because it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with your special rights. It had nothing to do with the Bumiputra rights. It had nothing to do with NEP. It had nothing to do with anything. All it said was to stop the discrimination based on race. Right? That was the only thing. And they started, no, I said, Mara for Mara. I'm like, okay, calm down. Okay? Because first of all, y'all don't understand what was happening. You never understood what was happening, and you all just basically got offended by a book by not reading the book. Remember there was one book that was put into the curriculum. There was an old book, I can't remember, but it had the word Pariah in it.
During our time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not our school time, but just after school. Okay. Like there was this book for Sastra Melayu.
Okay.
And they had this book, and in that book had the word Pariah in it.
Okay.
Okay. Now everybody got angry. The Indian community went up on arms.
Okay.
Right. But
because why they were calling an Indian guy Pariah, is it?
No. The word Pariah was there. The word Pariah was in it.
Okay.
Right. But then at the end of the day, nobody actually read the book. The book got pulled, obviously, because people made noise. Nobody actually read the book because the book used the word Pariah correctly.
Okay.
In the times, it was a historical book.
Okay.
Okay, and the fact that it was used, like for instance, Huckleberry Finn. Have you read the book?
I very loosely, yeah.
Okay, so it had a character by the name of N-word Jim. Okay, the N-word, you know the N-word. Okay? Okay. But that's what they used to call them.
Okay.
And it was a big thing. Now he's just called Jim.
Okay.
Right? Now, and I understand, but it was accurate for the time of when it was written.
It was accepted at the time it was written.
No, not accepted at the time it was written. It was not written in the time where slavery was happening. It was written about the time slavery was happening. So the name was accurate. That's what people would call people. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I don't know that I agree, but I understand.
No. Again, it's bad. Don't use the word. Okay. That's why I also never use the word. But all I'm saying is it's accurate. It's not using it in a defamatory or derogatory way.
Very subjective. Okay, I hear you. Okay, I hear you.
But it was this thing. Like for instance, this Pariah thing. It was not used in the sense that you are a pariah. It was kind of used in the sense that, oh, the word is there, and that's what the word was when that was happening. You understand what I'm saying? Like the British would call somebody pariah. Like that. Right? So it was just a correct historical document. If you know what I'm saying. Everybody got upset because how dare you glorify the word pariah. It's not glorifying the word pariah.
Okay.
Nobody read the book. I didn't read the book.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just hearing it from what you're telling me. Okay. I definitely need context to...
Yeah, I don't... I mean, the word pariah was used once in the book, I think. Once or twice, I can't remember. But it was used in context.
So since we are talking about context is using this, right? What about the recent more popular Bollywood selling contact lens, Malay girl wearing Bollywood, singing Bollywood song? Cultural appropriation.
Yes.
So what's your take on?
It's a very good question because I think
this is your message when you run for office,
yeah. No. The fact that look, everybody arguing, both sides never knew the argument. In the same way, they never read the book. They don't know the argument. Everybody's like saying, oh no, let her wear the sari. First of all, she was wearing a lenga. And second of all, everybody was saying like, oh no, let her wear whatever she wants lah. I wear cheongsam means everybody this thing. First of all, look, there's a thin line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. I understand you appreciate my culture. I get it, no problem. Like, don't worry. Hey, you want to celebrate Diwali, go. Right? You want to eat banana leaf? Hey, by all means, just don't use fork and spoon. Right? But in the same vein, don't not appreciate the people. You get what I'm saying? In the climate of Malaysia right now, Indians are being, they, in the sense that they feel a bit more aggrieved, right? Because of what's happening.
What's happening?
In the sense of entertainment, for instance, there is no Indian roles. There, in fact, how many Indian roles do you see in Malay movies? None.
Okay, I don't watch enough.
One or two. One or two. In fact, sometimes there are Malay people or other races who play Indian roles.
Okay.
Right? Which is not fair. Right? Give us the roles. We also have Indian actors. But why can't we can't get the roles? How many Chinese roles do you see in Malay movies? None. And let's face it, there are Chinese movies, there are Indian movies, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the mass market, which is the Malay movies. Right? The ones that go to cinema and the ones who make a lot of money and stuff like that. How many roles do we see? None. How many in advertisements, how many Indians do you see in advertisements? Very few. Right? But however, you want to use our culture, but you don't use our people. That's a huge thing. Like, easily, and I got no issues with Mira Filza. I think she's a beautiful woman who wore that lenga very well. Okay. Right? Now, could it easily, if you wanted to use that whole Bollywood thing, do we not have, they paid Mira Filza money to do this. Okay. Do we not have Indian models who could do the same thing? Okay. Right? Because we're not getting the roles anyway. But you want to use our culture with other people also inside. Okay. So that was the conversation that needed to be held. Not the fact that Mira Filza wore a lenga. That's fine. The fact that, look, at the end of the day, there's not enough roles for Malaysian Indians to go into. The Malaysian Indian artists are starving. They got nothing. They don't even they want to go into Malay movies. Very difficult. All we get is the comedy roles. That flirt. Okay, if we want to,
what, is that somebody?
No, that is basically it. The amount of times I got casted for being that comedic role, and I understand I'm a comedian. I understand, but why does it have to be the Indian comedian, the guy with the accent? Work up the accent. No, I'm not going to do it. I turned down those roles because of that, and also the fact that, look, at the end of the day, in advertisements, how many Indians do you see in advertisements? None. You know why? Because advertising agencies, when they do a survey, Indians don't exist in Malaysia. In advertising sense, Indians don't exist. Why? Because as a community, Chinese community, although it's a minority at 30%, spend the most money. Malays being the majority at 60%,
It's a mass market appeal.
And 10% Indians, one, we don't spend a lot of money because we are poor, and also we're 10%.
Okay.
So in advertising terms, we don't exist, right? So basically, nobody wants to advertise to Indians, right? Nobody wants to use the Indian talent to advertise anything.
Okay.
Maybe they might throw in one Indian flair for
color
lah. Just a little bit, diversity.
Contrast,
Put. But other than that, it's never been like a thing. That's the conversation that was supposed to be had, but everybody just went. They misunderstood the conversation. They misunderstood the whole argument, and just basically went, "Oh, now you're saying that we cannot wear what we want to wear." It's got nothing to do with the costume. The costume is a costume, but at the end of the day, the socio-economic problem that it
people
caused.
have a problem with you calling it a costume. By the way,
no, it's a costume. That's what it is. I got no issues with people wearing whatever they want.
I think this is a interesting one because I definitely, if you would have asked me before the conversation, I'm definitely on the other side of the bench in the sense that I cannot relate to where the outrage is coming from.
Okay.
Right? But listening to you, I am also very clueless about the entertainment scene.
Yeah.
Especially the local entertainment scene and the
Okay,
underrepresentation of Indians.
Let's take the tweet of the person who made the complaint to begin with. All right, what she said was Queen of Cultural Appropriation. She wears the dress, blah blah blah. But however, we they showed appreciation to the culture. But at the same vein, she added another picture with the WhatsApp chat about they trying to rent a house. Right. So they this guy, I would like to rent a house. When would you like to come and see? And then the second this thing was, what race are you? Then it's like Indian, blah blah blah. What was it? Apartment sold. Sorry. So you see, you appreciate, but you don't appreciate. You appreciate the culture, but you don't appreciate the people.
But it's a tricky one though because it's not. It is we are lumping groups of people together as if they are the same.
No, I understand. But what she was trying to say was, look, it's all good and nice when you want to appreciate our culture, but also appreciate the people.
But what's to say the people? So the thing is, if my issue with it was if what's her name, Mira Filzah, right? If she was, using the culture to sell contact lens.
It's not her.
No. I'm just giving an example, right? And if she or the organization that she worked for shows, proof of they don't hire Indians or they don't want to hire Indians, and they're also exploiting.
Why couldn't they though?
No, the thing in that sense, if there's proof that she's doing X and Y, that means she's taking the culture but hating the people or not favoring the people, then I think there's a valid argument. But now it is now the culmination of Twitter has made it that now this girl seems to be the apex of this conversation.
No, but that's why it was wrong. That's why people don't understand the argument. That's why the argument became about Mira Filzah wearing that linga.
Yeah,
which is not the problem. That was never the problem.
Yeah.
In fact, you look good in it. Fine.
Yeah.
By all means. But what we are saying is, it's like remember the 60s when they used to do movies and the white.
60s, bro.
I'm just saying in America. This is in America.
Okay.
In America, when this was okay at that time, by the way, when they used to have Chinese roles played by white people with the ching chong and it was racist as hell. It was yellow face, right? It was okay at that time, but now it's outrage, right? In the same way, I'm not saying that she brown faced. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm just saying that look, if there is roles for in advertisement for an Indian person, why not use an Indian person? I understand that Mira Filzah probably filled out the criteria of social media following and the celebrity that they needed at that point, the level of celebrity, and I get it. Then don't use our culture lah.
But I don't know, man. I don't particularly subscribe to that ideology lah.
No, it's okay. You see, it's it's very hard to explain this. It's very hard to explain the fact that, look, it is not about the decision that was made by Mira Filzah. Mira Filzah got money, put on an outfit and took a picture. Nothing to do with her. Okay, all I'm saying is, look, if you want to do a campaign about Bollywood and blah 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 and all that, hire someone who fits the criteria rather than just hiring anyone to do. If they hired me to be like a Chinese emperor of this, I'll be like, what the hell? Couldn't you get a Chinese guy?
I can imagine a funny ad with you.
No, it's not. That's not funny. First of all, that's cultural appropriation.
I don't
and
think
second,
so,
no,
bro.
I do think so. I do think that, look, in that role you played, you played honestly. You don't cast dishonestly, as in the fact that you get a white guy to play this. You get they say change the role. If you want, change the role. Do something different.
But who arbitrates this, right? So in the sense that now who decides that, okay, this Indian guy can wear Chinese traditional clothing, or this Indian guy cannot, or only Chinese people can wear Chinese clothing. So then who becomes the arbitrator of this appropriation?
It's not about, again.
But what I'm saying is it's a slippery slope, right?
The campaign was made around Bollywood.
No, I find it hard because...
Nobody said you couldn't wear a lehenga, but the whole campaign was based around Bollywood. Look like Aishwarya Rai.
I don't know, man. I still find it hard to... Because I think if we agree that this is cultural appropriation, so does that mean that every ad that goes up, somebody has to decide that, hey, is this the correct ethnicity, wearing the correct garb
all
for
you
that?
all you have to do is just be responsible a little bit. Responsibility comes to everything. You have to be responsible, because at the end of the day, if you're saying like, oh, okay, we got Kavin, okay, he's going to do this ad. Now he's going to be he's going to be this Chinese emperor, okay, who's come down from heaven, and this, and I'll be like, hold on a minute, okay. First of all, you got an Indian fella playing a Chinese emperor. Okay, that for one sounds wrong.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's contextual.
For
me,
but white guy playing a black guy, that's wrong.
Okay, so in terms
is that wrong or not?
No. So I'm not answering your question, right?
Okay.
In the sense that there are cultural sensitivities, right? In the sense that we can't apply American logic to our Malaysian culture, right? Because there was very clear persecution in terms of slavery and all that. But hang on. So in terms of slavery and all that, there was very clear, severe persecution, right?
Okay.
In our case, so in their case, right, the masters and the slaves now have to live together, right?
Okay.
In our case, our beloved British rulers at that point came in and decided, the workforce was going to be the Indians over there, the Ceylonese or whatnot will be the administrative, and so on, right? And then they left, right?
Okay.
And whatever shitty deal they left us with, right? So the rest of us here, okay, whether it's Malays, Indians, Chinese and all that, we are not the one that chose the deal. The deal was given to us, right? It was the Malays were not in control during the British rule and enslaving us and whatnot. Okay. Right? So our dynamic, right?
Let me ask you a question based on that. Okay. Let's say your dad rented a house. Okay. And the agreement that they signed was it was very biased to you, obviously.
To you, what do you mean?
I mean, it was very biased to your dad, lah. I mean, they don't have to do maintenance. Whatever happens. You can't you can't change the house as well. The rent will always be 10% higher than market value. And it can change every week. Whenever I want to change the rent, I can change the rent. Stuff like that. Okay. And that's what your dad felt was right at that time. I'm not saying this is your dad, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And and at that time they had no choice because they had nowhere else to stay. They had to accept the thing. Okay. Now your dad passes away. Okay. Now the contract comes to you. Okay. You know it's wrong. You know it's a bad deal. Would you continue on with it?
So the thing is, there's nuances, right? If you're going...
No. It's a yes or no question.
So if it is a contract that you don't have a choice legally. Either you fight it legally.
No, they are staying there because they got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, so there's I understand what the point you're trying to make, right?
No, but would you or would you not continue with that contract? Or would you as the son with more compassion, hopefully, change the contract and say, look, I'll give you market price and I'll do the maintenance because that's what I'm responsible to do.
Oh, you mean I'm the oppressor, so to speak?
No,
no,
in this hypothetical situation, your dad was the oppressor, but now your dad has partially moved on, okay, sadly. But you have taken over the contract. Now the contract obviously comes down to you. Now the house belongs to you.
Okay.
You still have these people staying there.
Okay.
Being oppressed.
Okay.
Okay. But now you have the power to change this contract. Would you or would you not?
I mean, as a good person, I would like to say that I would, but I'm not in that position.
But you hypothetically, I know you would like to say, I would like $1 million and a toilet made of gold. But look, forget what we like. You in this hypothetical situation, you are in this situation.
Yeah. So as hypothetically, I would like to think that I would do the right thing.
No, I don't want to know what you think. Would you or would you? It's a yes or no question.
I would like to think I would do it. Because it's a hypothetical.
Are you sure you're not a lawyer? Because
definitely not a lawyer.
But at the end of the day, when you say I'd like to think that, that means there is a chance that you would not change the contract.
The reality,
there is a 50-50 chance you are saying that you will not change the contract and you will say like, screw them lah.
No, the reason I speak like this, it is not because I purposely speak like that. It's because the reality is, I want to think that when shit hits the fan, I'll do the right thing. But until and unless it happens, I don't know whether I would. So the best I can do is articulate that I would like to think that I would.
The thing is, if shit hits the fan, you should be confident enough to yourself and to your own morality that you will do the right thing.
Yeah. So and the thing is, look, don't live in a world like that.
No,
bro.
we do. We absolutely do. If you think, if you can tell me right now that you never paid a bribe because you think that it's wrong to do so, but then you would tell me that, if someone is being oppressed and I have the power to change it, I would like to think that I would do it, but I cannot tell you whether I will or not because I haven't been in that situation. Tells me that, look, at the end of the day, that you would take advantage of the oppressed.
So I will make the same statement. So the reverse of the statement, right? If you had asked me, would you ever pay a bribe moving forward? I will give you the same answer. I would like to think that I won't.
That means there is a chance that you will.
Yeah. And I'm not, that's why I say I am not coming from a righteous, I am right.
No, it's not about being righteous. I can tell you right now, if I was in that hypothetical situation, I would change that. You know why? Because that's not the person I am. I am confident of the person that I am, that I know that if I see a wrong and I want to right it. And I would confidently tell you right now that I will.
Okay.
And I would not like to think that I will. I will change that contract because I know that it's oppressive and what my father did was wrong. In fact, before even my father passes away, I would try to talk to my father about how to change the contract. If he doesn't listen, then look, die first and then I will change.
But there's danger in...
No, there is no danger. I will tell you right now because that's how society works. That contract, if that contract even existed, it's still up for grabs. We haven't seen the contract, signed contract. But apparently, it's a social contract. A handshake between two people.
There's danger in dealing in absolutism, right?
No, but there are things that you need to deal with. Absolute. You're a good or bad person.
No, but
I know there's a grey, but
no, there's no grey in the sense that what I'm trying to say is the very logic that you use, right? Other people can use the same logic against you as well.
Fine.
Right? So in the very essence, somebody can come and say like, I need to do this so that, this group of people that I love and I identify it, they will lose out if I suddenly start cancelling these contracts, or I will not get money from here to help these people. So there are a lot of people who deal in absolutes, right? That means, I will never do this and never do that. And I think that's very dangerous. No, in the sense that it is nuance, it is
I understand.
Context.
If it's ambiguous,
poor people that is suffering,
if that hypothetical situation was very ambiguous, yes, I agree with you. But however, that example that I use is basically what we go through. It is not ambiguous at all. At the end of the day, if you think... If you see that whole you talk about a social contract that was signed 63 years ago, at the end of the day, that generation has gone. It's a new in fact, it's 3 generations after, right? But at the end of the day, the social contract is still being upheld because they say, oh, no choice, they sign. Where's the contract? Show me the contract. Who signed?
Actually, this brings it back to the point that when you talk about generational change, right? If the current generation of politicians believe that this contract should be upheld, regardless of what race or religion they are, then if the people are the one who have elected these people to represent them, and if they believe that we accept the social contract, then we should probably vote
this
for
social
people.
Contract has never been a problem until about 5 years ago.
Oh, I don't know.
When politicians brought out the social contract was never remembered. Nobody knows where is the contract. Where is this contract? You talk about a contract. Where is this contract? Where? You're talking about a social handshake, a gentleman's contract. Not even worth the paper it's printed on.
So you see, when I say I see things differently because I'm not Malaysian, right? So when I was in school studying sejarah, and they were talking about this, I vaguely remember I hated history. Right?
In America, there's the Declaration of Independence with all the social contracts,
I don't like
signatures.
This references to US because...
No, I don't. Look, I'm using this because it's a physical contract that you can see. However, with this social contract, where is this contract?
Okay.
Nobody knows what the contract is.
So you are now... okay, let's try to get to a point, right?
Okay.
So, even if somebody shows you a contract, doesn't mean you'll agree with it, right? In a sense.
No, but at least I know that. Okay, I know physically if you are referring to a contract, if you show me a physical contract, at least I know what is it based on, right? This excuse of our social contract. But however, there is no such thing as a contract. There was no contract signed.
I don't know sufficient to say yes or no. I am not informed.
Nobody shown you the contract. Do you believe?
I never asked for it.
Do you believe that there is a ghost standing next to me?
But do you believe that?
Would you like to believe there's a ghost standing next to me?
Do you also believe that the top legal minds, like Karpal and all that, never thought of this, and
they were never in power, so they couldn't change it. They wanted to change it, but they couldn't change it because they were never in power.
I don't know. I don't think it's that simplistic, lah.
No, it's not as simplistic as just saying, get rid of the NEP, get rid of this, get rid of that. I am not saying that, but I'm just saying that if you are giving the excuse of this social contract that was signed 63 years ago, first of all, there is no legal proof of this contract. First of all, and again, look, at the end of the day, it's an agreement, handshake between two gentlemen. That's true or not. Again, no, but it's not just you. What I'm saying.
No, it is actually. So number one, I think it was never a handshake between two gentlemen, right? Because from what little I remember in our history books, and I'm not very good at this, is that when the deal was struck, right, and was the negotiation when the British wanted to leave, and how the people who are left behind going to govern themselves, right? So technically, the Chinese and the Indians were not locals, lah. They came in to work the land or do business, whatever, right? So and then why it stuck in my head because what I read from the history books is that whoever is already here will get naturalized citizenship, right? The original, right? I say that in air quotes. This causes what I remember. The locals or the Wiputra will have preferential rights. What that right was, I have no idea. And then they will also make it very hard for anyone new to become a citizen. I remember this very clearly because it is hell for me to become a citizen, and I remember that line from one of the sejarah books. So that's the only reason I hear that. So that was the deal that the British brokered when they were getting up. Right? They just wanted to get
now
the
let me
fuck
tell
up,
you what
right?
I know, which is based on a lot of research. Okay, so when the British were leaving, they had the problem of the naturalization of the Chinese and Indians who were brought as laborers into the country. Now, the Malays at that time, there were a bunch of Malays who didn't agree with the naturalization of the Malays and Chinese. So the British said that we would give you independence with the condition that you naturalize these two, right? Then the Malay groups came in and said, look, but in the caveat that the Bumiputra get special rights because at the end of the day, the Chinese were working the tin mines. They had a lot of money. The Indians were working the estates and they had a lot of money. Okay, so they said, oh no, but the Malays were, what do you call that, fishermen, farmers. So basically, they didn't have the money. So we need to naturalize the.
So at that time,
we need to flatten the curve.
I was always in the impression the Indians were the underprivileged working in the fields. I mean,
no, but they also had the estate owners and stuff like that who were Indians as well. The estate, the Mandola, Mandola.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so they had all that, but more likely it was the Chinese with the mines, right? And they were economically more strong than the Malays. And the Indians were kind of like stuck in the middle, kind of going like, okay, we can't go back to India. But of course, the option was given. If you want to go back now, go. Right? If you don't want to go back, you want to stay where you are, you will be given citizenship. Right? So, or you could go to Singapore, or you can go to wherever the hell you want. Okay? But at the end of the day, if you stay here, you stay here. Okay, that was the contract. That was this thing. And nobody. I don't have a problem with Bumiputra rights. I don't have a problem with the Bumiputra, special needs, whatever. I have no issues with that. I have no issues with that contract that was signed. Because basically, if you were in Malaysia at that time, right, you were naturalized as a citizen immediately. If you registered, you this thing. Of course, there was the whole communist thing going on, which is why also registering was a huge thing, right? Now, that was the agreement.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, as I said, I got no issues with Bumiputra and their special rights and this thing, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that you also, neglect your minorities. By giving special rights and giving special assistance to a majority, that's all fine and dandy. But that doesn't mean you neglect the minorities. Now, the Chinese prospered very well. They had the money. They did very well. They controlled the economy. They do what they do lah, right? And they were very hardworking people, and they were very street smart, whatever. They did okay. The Indians, however, were neglected. They were neglected so bad that at the end of the day, we became the minority that was this thing, because nobody, we first of all, we don't get special rights. Okay. Second of all, we don't get assistance also because most of the people helping them. Okay. So the estates, as the estates wind down and the rubber prices fell tremendously, where did the Indians go? They ended up in squatter houses. They ended up in places where this thing, and we own 10% of the population. Right, we couldn't work as laborers also because we were too expensive, because we were Malaysian. Right, so they brought in Bangladeshi workers to work this labor force. So at the end of the day, this
is more recent. You're talking about now.
No, this is over time, right? Okay. I'm talking about the systematic racism that happened to Indians, where at the end of the day, with the socio-economic this thing, do you know there is a reason why there is a quota for. I mean, there is obviously a 30% quota for Malays, but there's also an unofficial quota for Indian people to stay in a taman perumahan.
Because for like government housing, is it?
For government housing, because in normal housing, like if you want to buy a house, like there's an area for Chinese people, there's an area for Malay people. There's no there's an area for Malay people. I mean for Indian people, sorry. So at the end of the day, these, if you notice, the Indian places are where the low cost houses are, right? Where you see very few middle class Indian families in Chinese areas, or in this. But what I'm trying to say is, because obviously it's segregated as well. I mean, not so much so as is very obvious. But you look at places like Klang, or you look at places like Brickfields. That's where they were segregated too. Right, and eventually those prices went up because Brickfields became Brickfields, and Klang is still Klang. But at the end of the day, that socio-economic situation where the Indians were held, that's why they became gangsters. That's why they started with the crime and stuff like that. And why do you think there's 70% Indian population in Malaysian prisons?
In Malaysian what?
In prison. There's a high percentage of
70% of Malaysian prisons are Indians.
Okay, then maybe I may have exaggerated a little bit. But I'm just saying
You're
it's a
throwing
high.
some crazy stats.
No,
It's scaring me.
No, okay, the stat will be exaggerated, but it's a high percentage. Okay, the
Okay.
high percentage of
To
Malaysian
the
prisons,
ratio of their
the ratio of
in the
state.
population
Yes.
versus in
Yes,
prisons.
and
Okay.
prisons.
Okay.
Okay, there's a high percentage. Why? Because that's all they can do. What else they going to do? They can't get tertiary education because let's face it, we can't afford private universities. Okay, when you want to go to public universities, there's only a 10% quota, and if there's a 10% quota, not everybody gets in, right? It's very difficult because I faced it. Yeah, I got a Petronas scholarship, but out of 10 years, I was the only Indian. Okay, so there's always a quota.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to go public university, you had to outscore everybody to get in. Right. If you are a normal B grade student, private college or become gangster. That's all you could do.
Okay. There is I think there's a lot of resonance in what you're saying, right? And
Okay.
I resonate with a lot of things that you're saying. I think where we diverge is probably the root cause, right?
Okay.
In the sense that I think if we oversimplify, at the end of the day, it's the government's fault, right? Right?
Okay.
Okay. Right. And I think that's
obviously, yeah.
yeah, but I think there are a lot of nuances that we have to look at. Okay. So let me give you two parts, right, the way I see it, right? Part one will be maybe how I see the problem, and part two is maybe how I see the solution. Right? Okay. So in terms of part one, right, I think even back then, and some might argue even up to this day, we are still very race-based communally. Not everybody, but a lot of people still, and if I bring it home, it's even if I look at my mom and her circle of friends, my aunties, uncles and all that, they are still very Indian-centric.
Okay.
It's not to say they hate others, but their preference is, right?
Okay.
So whether we like it or not, our communities back then are even more like that, right? So with the idea of, a unity party like BN back then and all that, was that each faction should represent your community. Whether it was done properly or not, we can talk. And obviously there was a lot of fuck-ups, right?
Okay.
But I don't know whether there was a government conspiracy to keep the Indians down. I don't know, right? In the sense that, did MIC do enough? Probably not, right? And, in the same sense, probably MCA did do a lot for their community. Because at one point, people were happy with MCA.
Okay.
Right? At one point. Right? So, in a sense, I feel there's nuances in the sense that it was not that the systematic oppression of Indians. Although I'm not saying Indians were not oppressed. I'm not. But I do think there are nuances where, whether it's corruption or, self-serving, whatever, the people who are supposed to be looking out for certain communities were just not doing their job or not doing their job well, right?
Or hindered.
Say again?
Or hindered.
Yeah. So, and that over years snowballs like a motherfucker. Right?
No, agree.
Right?
And I completely agree where you. Yeah. But you not calling it systematic racism is where the problem lies, because you see, at the end of the day, whether when you say MIC, whether they did enough or not, probably not. Okay, but were they able to do more?
No, the argument is right. So just say if now I'm UMNO. Very simplify that. Let's just say if I'm UMNO, and if I was blamed for not why are the Indians in such poor economic conditions, I'll say
ask MIC, no?
Yeah. So that
but
will
here's where the problem is.
The problem of race-based is that I'm not disagreeing with you.
That's where the problem is. The problem is that I'm UMNO. I look after the Malays.
Yes.
If you want, you go and ask the MIC, who basically gets when you look at the budget sense, when the party is saying, obviously there's a segregation of budgets. Okay, what happens? Obviously MIC gets the runt of the litter, and they will, with this much they have to do this much to the people. So obviously again it's hindering. And when I say systematic racism, I don't mean the racism as in I hate Indians and I want them to die. No, it's the fact that I want to help the Malays. I don't care about everybody else. That is the systematic racism in
No,
Malaysia.
actually, I don't even know if that.
Or I want to
statement is
help
true.
Chinese and I don't care about everybody else.
No. What I say is, it's if you look at it another way, is that
It's
is not my
neglect.
job. No, it's not my job to look after, right? So
yes,
because
that is the systematic racism in Malaysia. It's not my job to look after the Indians. It's not my job to look after the Chinese. It's not my job to look after this. It's not my job to look after that. It is your job to look after everybody. And when that's the problem. It's 63 years of neglect. That is the thing. It's not racism in the sense of hate. It is not racism in the sense of the KKK and the we want to kill Indians. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's the fact that look, you neglected this community for years and years and years. You neglected this community, and this community had to rise up from its own self.
I mean, there's
And
nuances there, man.
No,
I mean,
look, listen. They had to go. They had to. This community had to jump through hoops to even become a middle class family. Right, the amount of nonsense they had to do, the fact that look, when it comes to my mother was a government servant. For her to get a promotion, she had to outdo her closest rival by 3 times. She had to do more things for her to get promoted. Which is why she basically just went like, look, just send me to Laos, and she did. She went to Laos.
See,
to work.
the reason why I say it's not the part 2, which is not a simple solution, right? Is even now when we go back and if we say the same things, they won't accept.
No, and I get it.
Because there's truth in every fraction, right? In the sense that
I'm not saying this is a quick fix. I'm not saying this is going to be fixed in the next 5-10 years. No, it's you start the seed now, lah.
I think there's movement, lah. I don't know whether these buggers
not enough though.
I don't know if there's what will
whatever I'm saying, I'm not saying that look, this has got to change now, this has got tomorrow, I want something different. No, it's never going to happen. It's a country, you're changing a whole country. At the end of the day, it takes 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. We need to the damage has been done for 60 years. You think we can change that one day? No, it'll take time. But all I'm saying is, look, at least move in our politicians are okay. Syed Sadiq did one good thing lah, that it was not a race-based thing, it's an age-based thing. But I'm just saying that it becomes a confusion, because if I go to 30, do I still be in the party?
I see the point.
At the end of the day, Mahathir still there doing Malay party. Muhyiddin another Malay party, UMNO another Malay party, PAS another Malay party. I'm just saying that look, at the end of the day, do we really need a race segregation in politics? At the end of the day, if this is happening in our leaders, the people we look up to, apparently, okay, the people who are supposed to lead us into the new horizon, if these people are showing an example of this is happening and this is what they're doing, who are we to change?
What do you mean?
How are we going to change?
No, but I think the leaders change when the people change lah.
No.
If our mindset is still stuck back in the 1980s or whatever.
No, it works twofold, okay? We as a people, me, you, maybe, I hope, I believe to think that I like to think that you believe that what I believe.
I know I screwed up by not answering the question the way you want it, but
No, yeah, this is going to be my next time. Every message is, I like to believe that. Okay, next time you ask me where's my payment, I like to believe that I would pay you in time, but I'm not sure.
You have my permission to do what you want.
People like me, we have changed, right? The people have changed. Now you have to have a small majority of people who change for the leaders to change. Okay. Once that happens, the leaders change. When the leaders change, the mass majority, that's when they change. You can't expect everybody to change and then leaders change. I don't
think so.
If the leaders are changing based on the people, then why they are leaders? Then shouldn't we be the leaders?
No, because the leaders are representative of the government, of the people. That's the reality of
I understand this. And do you actually believe in Malaysia that the majority of the people, Majority of the people. I'm not talking about the people who have the voice or the right wing or the left wing. I'm talking about the silent majority. Do you actually believe that these people believe that we shouldn't help the Indians? That their party shouldn't help the Indians, or shouldn't help the Chinese, or shouldn't help people who need to be helped, or shouldn't do things like charity or for other people. If they want to help people, they should help within their ideology and nothing else.
No, I don't think people think like that.
I also don't think so.
Yeah, and where you will get pissed off with me is I don't think even political parties think like that. They are just so obsessed with serving their own following and masses. They don't live out of a hate for somebody else, right? But they are so focused on.
Are they just being like that?
Yeah, and I think that is the issue. In terms of a solution, we have to be able to get to a point of being able to talk about Malaysians as Malaysians, right?
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about it now.
But we need to get there first. We can't have that conversation.
I understand
in the context. So the only reason I have this that they say the silver lining, right? The only silver lining, I had a lot of hopes for Syed Saddiq before 2018.
I had a lot of hope for Khairi.
After 2018, I was some of the things where I had to toe the line. I'm not so sure how I feel about that.
No, fair enough.
And so even now, so why I say that is I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Syed Saddiq, right? I'm probably more of a critic than a fan.
Okay.
But the move that he's making now is a very brave.
It's a step, as I said, it's a step to the right direction. Although it still causes confusion.
If let's not talk about from a race point of view, right? He is the majority, representing the majority of a country, right? In terms of, if you say US, it is the white Americans and whatnot. So where a representative of the majority race is coming and talking about, let's have a united front. Okay. I think that's a step in a right direction. I'm not saying it's a solution. It is a step. I understand,
but I've not talked about it in a long time also.
Do you believe it? Do you wholeheartedly believe it? Do you believe that, keadilan? I don't have an opinion, but the reality is people still feel their racial and religious lines are like people like if Azmin can go from, PKR Keadilan into a race-based party, then obviously there's some nuances that we are missing.
I mean, that's Azmin is an idiot lah. But also the fact that, look, at the end of the day, PKR was never meant to be a race-based party. It was never meant to be. What I'm saying, when Anwar never created it, but when it was created, it was supposed to be a Malaysia party, right?
I think it was created to fight for his freedom. Keadilan at first.
No, of course. Yeah, and then it became a party eventually, and but the support that they had.
Because at the end, he still toes the line that politicians.
I got a show at 8 o'clock.
Okay, we cut it short.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Let me summarize it. I don't think there's a solution on the table right now.
It's a 3-hour podcast. I don't know any of this is going to go into the podcast, but good luck lah.
3 episodes. Okay. We went very heavy. I didn't expect it to drag so long. Okay. So which means that we probably should do this again. I would be interesting to see if alcohol was in the mix. I don't know whether we'll be throwing bottles and glasses against each other.
I like to believe that maybe I won't know, but there could be a possibility lah.
Okay. You have all the rights to use that bit. You can mask my name as something else.
No. That's not how it works, I'm not going to go on stage and do this. Okay, shut up.
Okay, but in any case, thank you very much for coming on. Thanks for
no worries.
Thanks for doing this. I don't know whether I've raised your BP and or I basically helped you become the angry Indian on stage later. Okay, but let's try and do this again sometime.
Sure.
Maybe I'll come out a little bit more time. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
No worries.